It is week number 9 of the college football season, and of course, we've been predicting every single game this college football season, and we are continuing this here with week number 9 here for this college football slate. And before we get into the prediction, folks, if you haven't yet, though, make sure that subscribe button down below for some more college football here on the channel. It really helps out the channel a lot. If you just hit that like button down below and hit that subscribe button, so if you do enjoy the videos, make sure to do both of those. Again, it helps us make these videos on a weekly basis. Let's get it going. Before we get into the picks, though, folks, we have gotten our NBA predictions going here on the channel. Now, this will be daily. It's going to be daily on the channel. So yesterday we posted our opening night predictions. You got the Timberwolves taking on the Lakers at 7:30 Pacific time, and then you got the Celtics taking on the New York Knicks. That video is already on the channel, but going forward, our NBA predictions will be out daily every morning. No later than 1 o'clock Eastern will those picks be out daily. So if you like the college football picks, we're doing NBA daily as well. We're still going to do college football. We're still going to do the NFL, but that is also on the channel as well. So link is in the description down below. But again, daily NBA picks here on the channel. We also posted our World Series predictions, so link is in the description to that as well. We also posted our UFC 308 predictions. Ilya Topuria, Max Holloway in the main event for the featherweight championship. Robert Whitaker takes on Hamzat Chimaev. And then tomorrow, we will have our NFL picks as well, along with our NBA picks for tomorrow. The big game going on in the NBA in 2 nights, or I guess tomorrow night, is going to be the Bucks and the 76ers. So yes, that is coming to the channel every single day. Make sure to stay tuned, but let's get into the college football slate. This is why you're here, and let's get it going, starting on the Tuesday night game with the Sam Houston Bearcats taking on Florida International. Now, is this the game FIU is wearing their Vice City uniforms? I think it might be. It's on Tuesday night. If you haven't seen them, they're really damn cool. I might buy an FIU jersey just because they're really cool. The Vice ones, they're white and they're pink. It's really cool. It's like the Miami Heat's jerseys, but low-key just better, and it's a football jersey, so it's more wearable. I probably will actually buy an FIU Panthers jersey. Hopefully, I will have it by the end of this college football season. Maybe I'll wear it during the bowl season that FIU will probably not be participating in, because we are taking the Sam Houston Bearcats to go on the road to Miami and cover the 5.5. They're just the better football team. They lost to Western Kentucky last week, and we said that was going to happen. I thought that game was so mispriced. Western Kentucky is the way better team than Sam Houston. I'll make the case that Western Kentucky is going to give Liberty trouble later this season as well. We'll get to Liberty in a moment. I just like Sam Houston more than FIU. FIU, they lost to UTEP last week, something that we said was going to happen as well. Now, I said UTEP was going to cover the winner of that game. I don't know. But early weekday games are so unpredictable. They just are. This is a Tuesday night game, guys. FIU last week went into El Paso and lost by 9 points to a UTEP team who hadn't won yet this season. And the week before that, though, 2 weeks before that for FIU, their previous game, they almost beat Liberty and went to overtime with Liberty. And Liberty, I think they're kind of a fraudulent 5-0. I think they are. But FIU's a weird team, and the Tuesday night games are just weird. I'm taking Sam Houston, though, because no amount of weird football that's going to happen on Tuesday night is going to stop Sam Houston from rolling FIU. Now, they might not completely roll them like they should. I'm talking they're not going to beat them by 14 points, but they're going to beat them by more than 5. So give me Sam Houston to win that football game. As next up, we've got Louisiana Tech taking on UTEP. Remind me to never pick Louisiana Tech in a football game ever again. Never. I am never picking Louisiana Tech Bulldogs the rest of the season. I don't care who they're playing. I am fading Louisiana Tech every single time I see them. Guys, this team was a 13.5 point favorite on the road at New Mexico State. A defense, by the way, New Mexico State, who can't stop anything. But it gets worse, guys. It gets worse. Louisiana Tech has the ball at the end of the game to win it. They score a touchdown and go up by 7 at the end of the game in the fourth quarter. New Mexico State drives downfield. They score. They tie it up. It's fine. You give Louisiana Tech too much time. By the way, I saw the New Mexico State backup quarterback who is just their, he's like, makes the comp. He's their Aiden Childs last year when Oregon State had DJU. Regardless, New Mexico State's guy runs for a touchdown. The backup quarterback is their mobile guy, and he literally does the Fortnite default dance in the end zone. And so you're thinking, oh, Louisiana Tech's got to get their get back, right? They got to beat this team. They drive right down the field with like a minute, 30 seconds left to go. They drive down the field. They have the ball at literally like the 10-yard line. They're going to hit a 27-yard field goal to win the game, and it gets blocked. But no, they go to overtime, right? Both teams trade field goals in the first overtime. Second overtime, their kicker misses a 46-yarder. They lose. No, barely makes the 46-yarder. It bonks in off the crossbars, or off the uprights, and then New Mexico State just drives right in to score a touchdown in 2 plays. I am never picking Louisiana Tech to win a football game ever again. And honestly, guys, 5.5 is too much. It's a Tuesday night. Anything can happen. And UTEP's coming off a win over FIU. Give me the Miners. Yep. We like the Miners to. We're picking the UTEP Miners. I worded that really bad. Give me UTEP because Louisiana Tech sucks. Next up, we go to Wednesday. Liberty and Kennesaw State. Guys, I'm actually taking Kennesaw State to cover here. Why? It's a Wednesday night. It's that simple. Guys, we need Kennesaw State. If we're going to cover this 25.5, guys, we need Kennesaw State to score 1 touchdown. Okay? If they can score 1 touchdown, they are covering this football game. I think so. I don't think Liberty puts up more than 31 points, personally. And again, the most they put up this season is 41 against Campbell. They put up 35 against East Carolina. Liberty just doesn't score all that well. Their offense leaves a lot to be desired this season. It's weird. Caden Slaughter, he's not doing a horrible job, but it's just their offense doesn't really finish. Salter hasn't had a game that he's thrown for more than 250 yards. He just kind of does everything Liberty wants him to do, but they run the ball a lot now. Yeah, they're coming off a 7-point win over FIU. They go on the road to Kennesaw on a Wednesday night. Again, weird things happen on Wednesday night, and I think Kennesaw State covers the 25.5 points. Given, again, we are banking that Kennesaw State can score 7 points. 10 points would be really nice here. Actually 10 points would be phenomenal. If we can get 10 points out of Kennesaw State, something they have done every single game but their last one on the road at Middle Tennessee State, we're in business. Seriously, we are. 10 points out of Kennesaw State means that Liberty has to score more than 5 touchdowns. It's not happening. So, guys, we're taking the Owls, who are 0-6, but as long as they can score 10 points, which they have done against a good team in the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, they scored 10 points on the road in San Jose against the Spartans. Hey, I think we're good. Give me Kennesaw State to score 10 points. And that means they cover. Next up, the other Wednesday game, Middle Tennessee State takes on Jacksonville State. So again, we get more of this crappy COSA football. Actually, no, the Gamecocks aren't that bad. Jacksonville State, they're coming off 3 straight blowout victories over Southern Miss, which is a good win. Kennesaw State beat them up and beat up on New Mexico State as well. Are they playing 3? No, Southern Miss is a little bit better than those other schools, but are they coming off being the 2 worst CUSA schools? Yeah, they are. But it's fine. They're playing another bad CUSA school in Middle Tennessee. Their only win this year over a FCS school is Kennesaw. They beat them by 9 points. They were 9.5-point favorites. They won the game 14-5. Their kicker missed a field goal to cover the spread for us in the fourth quarter. It is what it is. The Blue Raiders just, though, aren't very good at football. They're just not. They turn the ball over a lot. They're 2-5. You look at what Jacksonville State brings. This is a team that throws the ball a lot with Tyler Huff. He runs the football effectively as well. He's a good dual threat guy, leads their team in rushing yards. And Jacksonville State just finds a way to put up points. And Middle Tennessee's offense sucks. And Jacksonville State's defense is just going to be better. So give me them to cover the 21 points. I get it. It's a Wednesday night. Weird stuff happens. But either it's an oddly close game because the road team makes it close, or just the home team absolutely destroys whoever's going on the road in this game. I think Jacksonville State covers. The game's on ESPN2. Give me Jacksonville State to cover the 21 points. As we go to Thursday, if I can talk, man. We go to Thursday. Old Dominion taking Georgia Southern. Now, I've been picking the Monarchs a lot this season. Why? I don't know, but they're playing good football now. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They beat Texas State. The one time I don't think I took Old Dominion was last week. I definitely didn't. But they beat ODU beats Texas State on the road. Shout out Colton Joseph, who had a pretty solid game last week, who has taken over, obviously, the starting quarterback duties for ODU. And he's, 2-1 in his new job, right? I mean, he came in, played the Coastal game. They lost, put up 37 points in that defeat, but then won back-to-back games over Georgia State and Texas State, and they've been playing good defense. The thing is, Georgia Southern has an explosive offense that just puts up points. We talk about J.C. French a lot, but that's what this offense is going to do. Jalen White out the backfield as well. Georgia Southern's going to score, and that's going to make it real difficult here on the Old Dominion Monarchs. I think Georgia Southern's able to put up points. I get there on the road. I get it's a Thursday night, but I do like Georgia Southern here. Again, they're the better football team. Just the only reason they are dogs is because they are on the road, which I completely understand. Don't get me wrong, but give me the underdogs. I like Georgia Southern here. I think, again, people are kind of hyping up ODU a little bit. Now, who am I kidding? If they're hype around Old Dominion, there's not. But they're getting too much respect because of the teams they've just beaten. Good for them. Again, I applaud the Monarchs for beating Georgia State, beating Texas State. This is where the Cinderella run comes to an end, and this is a huge game in the Sun Belt East, right? Georgia Southern 3-0 in the Sun Belt, Old Dominion 2-1 in the Sun Belt. The winner of this game will likely win the Sun Belt East. God, I don't have a speech impediment. The Sun Belt East, that's nothing against people's speech impediments, by the way. But anyways, ODU and Georgia Southern, like, the winner of this game is going to have to play Marshall eventually, and Marshall's going to be the other team that's going to give them trouble in the Sun Belt East before deciding who, the winner, obviously, of this division is going to be, where they're likely going to play either UL Monroe or the Ragin' Cajuns over there in the West. It's a huge game for the Sun Belt. Like, the winner of this game will likely go to the Sun Belt Championship. I think it's Georgia Southern. I think they're the better team. I think they have the better offense. So give me JC French and the boys. Next up, we go to the ACC. Louisville takes on Boston College. I took Boston College last week. I apologize for that pick. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pick them again. Louisville's look good against good teams. Great. Now they have to go on the road to Boston College. Thomas Castellanos, he is not injured. He just has not been playing good football. It has not been the same Thomas Castellanos that we saw early in the season when they beat Michigan State in the Red Bandana game. They had a close game against Mizzou, which, I get it's Mizzou, but still, when they beat Florida State on the road in Tallahassee, it hasn't been the same Thomas Castellanos. He hasn't really taken care of the ball as much, and he just hasn't been the game changer that he kind of was early in the season. But in all fairness, it's the run game that they really depend on. And Ward, Richard, and Robichaux, we talk about all three of them every single week. They need production out those guys, and really BC hasn't gotten that. It's been Richard who's been the leading rusher as of late. He was the leading rusher 2 games ago, 51 yards, 64 last game. They need more production out their run game. I think they're able to get that against Louisville. Louisville is a team that doesn't play the greatest defense. I get it. They score points, and I anticipate Louisville will win this football game. They've got the 26-year-old, 25-year-old Tyler Shaw. Remember when he was at Texas Tech? Yeah, neither do I. But he has 18 touchdowns this year, 3 picks. He's been playing good football. I will give credit to where credit is due with Tyler Shaw. Isaac Brown's been a really good running back for them as well. My thing is Boston College. I know they're at home, and I think they're able to cover the 7 points. I just think that's too much. I think Louisville wins the football game, but again, if Louisville wins this game by a touchdown, we are fine. We push, right? Obviously, we want Boston College to cover the line, but I think they're in a good spot here. 7 points, I just think is too much. I think Louisville is the better team, don't get me wrong, but they're going on the road Friday night. I get it, BC just played a Friday night game and didn't look all that impressive, but give me BC on a Friday night to cover. I think Louisville, though, will win the football game. Next up, Rutgers and USC. So this game has been circled on the calendar for a very long time. Why? Because Rutgers, who was a school and a team from New Jersey, has to go all the way to Los Angeles, to Southern California, to take on USC. Now, why is that interesting? Because the game starts at 8 p.m. That's 11 o'clock Eastern time for Rutgers. The game with commercials, the game's on Fox, so they're gonna, the game's gonna go for a while. This thing's not ending till 2:30 at the earliest for Rutgers. That's why they're 14.5 point dogs. And they should be. USC is going to run this team. On top of that, Rutgers has been playing absolutely atrocious football as of late, right? They start the season 4-0, and you're like, oh my goodness, Rutgers is... Here they are this year. They beat UW on a Friday night. They beat Washington, and then they go into Nebraska. They score 7 points. Then they get blown out 42-7 against Wisconsin, and they just let that UCLA game fall out their hands last week. And now they're 4-3 after starting 4-0. They're going to be 4-4 because they're not beating USC. And I get it. USC, God, this has just been a team that's been so disappointing this year, right? They beat LSU in Las Vegas. We picked LSU to win that football game. And then, I'm like, all right, I trust in USC now. They cover. They blow out Utah State 48-0, and I'm like, all right, this is our chance, USC. They're gonna go to the big house and win, and they lose. They lose to Michigan, who is god awful. Then they beat Wisconsin. They look great. They lose to Minnesota on the road. They almost beat Penn State, but lose. And then last week they go on the road to Maryland and lose the game by 1 point. I was back kind of on the USC train because I was like, all right, they can't let this season completely fall apart. But no, they have. They're 3-4. They got to win 3 more games the rest of the year to make a bowl game. Do I think they do that? Well, Rutgers, UCLA, I don't even know if they beat Washington. Maybe they'll beat Nebraska. I don't know. USC is just a weird team. Like, yeah, okay, the offense, they have the capability of being really good on offense, right? Miller Moss puts up stats every single week. He does. He's a good quarterback. Woody Marks is a good running back. Just, they have games where their offense will score, but their defense literally can't stop anything. My thing, though, is, again, I get it. Kyle Monagai is a good running back. He's got 845 yards this season. I believe he's in the top 10 in the rushing leaders in all of college football. Kalamankis is nothing but a game manager, the former Minnesota Golden Gopher. That's fine. But Rutgers is not going to do anything that's going to blow you away. USC doesn't play the best defense, but if they can just stop the run here and force Calamancas to throw the football, they're going to be fine. I think USC wins the football game, and I think they cover as well. I get it. It's another large spread that we got to pick USC to cover, and they have not been good at doing that recently. I completely get that. If you don't want to tail this, I wouldn't personally. I personally am not going to be putting anything on this football game. There's another game on Friday night that we're going to get to later on in this video that is much more meaningful and is much more exciting, and I think we have an edge on that game. We'll see. If you need a pick, give me a USC minus 14.5. Again, I think I've been saying it all year long. Travel means something, guys. It means something for Rutgers having to go all the way to New Jersey to Los Angeles, play an 8 o'clock game, which is really 11 o'clock for them. That means something. And this is a conference game, by the way, so shout out college football. It's exciting, I guess, for us. But give me USC to cover the 14.5. Again, their offense is just way more talented than Rutgers. And again, Rutgers has to go cross-country to play this football game. Not on a Saturday afternoon, no. On a Friday night. Give me USC to win. Give me them to cover as well. As we go into our next one, we've got Nebraska and Ohio State. So Nebraska laid a massive egg last week at Indiana. Again, I've been pumping up the Hoosiers all year long. We will get to the Hoosiers later on in this video because, hey, what have I been saying all year long about the Indiana Hoosiers? They're going to the national championship. Okay, we'll see. They're going to the playoffs. If you hard press me right now for a pick to win the national championship, I'm giving you the Indiana Hoosiers. Nebraska losing 56-7 is not bad, right? If Ohio State struggles to beat them by that many points, we're just going to crown Indiana right now before they even play the Buckeyes later this year. But losing 56-7, I don't care how good Indiana is. That's not good out of Nebraska. This especially a team that was, 5-1 going into that game. That just shows you guys how good Indiana is. Dylan Raiola is not bad, but that just goes to show you how good the Hoosiers are. Nebraska cannot get a damn thing going on offense. They were turning the ball over left and right as well, and they cannot get a damn thing going. That's how good the Hoosiers are. Curtis Rourke is a Heisman candidate, and he should be. Indiana's getting game day this week, and again, I will stop talking about Indiana because they have their own part of the video that they will be getting later on in this one. But I'm just saying that's how good the Indiana Hoosiers are. I think at the same time, Ohio State covers the 25.5. I think they win the game by 4 touchdowns. Again, they have not played since that Oregon loss, since the Will Howard slide. It is what it is. They got a week off last week. All the attention's on Nebraska. Now, they have a game in 2 weeks against Penn State in Pennsylvania where we'll see how big that game is when we get there. I will get to Penn State later on in this video as well. But Ohio State's been able to beat the brakes off of everybody this year except for Oregon. Obviously, when they went on the road to Eugene, they should be able to beat the brakes off Nebraska. This game's in Columbus. I would anticipate Ohio State just have their way in this game. I don't think they'd put as big of a beating on Nebraska like Indiana did because, again, Indiana is better than Ohio State. Yeah, I said it. But give me Ohio State to win the game by more than 25. They're going to win it by 4 touchdowns. So give me the Buckeyes. Again, huge game next week. We'll see what happens. Next up, we go on to the SEC, a game that, at the beginning of the season, you would have been, oh, huge game. Oklahoma goes to Ole Miss, first time ever in the SEC. Now it's just, we don't give a damn. We don't care about Oklahoma and Ole Miss. Who's going to win the football game? Ole Miss. Are they going to cover? Sure. Jackson Dart again did his, I'll do my Jackson Dart impression right now, actually, guys. You want my Jackson? I'll give you a Jackson Dart impression, all right? I've been waiting all week to do this. So, Jackson, what do you guys need to do for the rest of the season? We got to win out. We got to win out. We've got no other option. We got to win out. Was Jackson Dart just preparing all week to do that? I assume he was, right? He envisioned them losing to LSU and then just said, all right, we got to win out. Oh, okay, dude, you're not beating Georgia. I'm just going to be honest with you. Regardless of the fact, I think Ole Miss actually has a chance to finish the season 9-3. They're going to beat the brakes off Oklahoma. Oklahoma's just horrible. They're going back to Jackson Arnold, which, again, I've been saying, I don't think Jackson Arnold is the reason that they suck. Now, I know he played in the South Carolina game, but Jackson Arnold is officially the starter again. That doesn't fix this entire team. They have no weapons on offense. They're averaging, 3 yards a carry, if that. They don't have a receiver that can really change a game. Deion Burks has 200 yards this season. They can't get anything going on offense. Their defense can't stop anything as well. No, Ole Miss will dominate this football team. I want to believe in Jackson Dart. I want to say Jackson Dart is going to be the best quarterback next year in college football because I think he's got the capability of doing so. Trey Harris right now is probably the best receiver in college football. You might want to give Nick Nash a look at San Jose State. We'll get to them later. Yes, Jackson Dart's incredible. Can Ole Miss put it together? They have been struggling lately. I think this is the game that they will, just because, again, Oklahoma's been struggling that much, and I think Ole Miss absolutely beats the brakes off them. This game is in Mississippi. Give me Ole Miss. I want to believe in the Rebels. Can I, though? That's another story. Give me Ole Miss, though, to cover this game. They're getting 20.5. Yeah, they win the game by 3 touchdowns. We cover. So give me Ole Miss. Next up, we go to the ACC. Virginia Tech takes on Georgia Tech. This game's solely dependent on if Haynes King is playing. I don't think Haynes King is playing, so that's why I'm taking Virginia Tech. If Haynes King plays, this line's going to move to, I think, like 7.5. I'm still playing Virginia Tech in this one. They've been playing really good football. The one loss that you look at, and it's really questionable, is not Vanderbilt anymore. No, it's Rutgers. They lose at home against Rutgers by 3 points, and that's when I was really down on Kyron Drones and this Hokies squad, but they've really bounced back. Now, Kyron Drones still is not playing his best football. It's by far the reason they're winning football games is Bashal Tutin. Tutin is balling. Last week, he ran for 266 yards against Boston College. That's the reason, again, why BC didn't cover that game. And, well, obviously, it wasn't even close. VTech won by 21 points. But good for the Hokies, right? The week before, they dominate Stanford. Their run game has been absolutely dominant. I don't think Georgia Tech's able to keep up, okay? Kyron Drones, again, he's a good elusive guy. He's a good mobile quarterback. But again, when that offense is centered around Bashal Tutin, which they are, they're hard to stop. Georgia Tech laid an egg last week. It's fine. Haynes King didn't play. It's a different offense. Obviously, with Zach Pyron. Pyron's nowhere near Haynes King. He can't run the football like Haynes King. He doesn't have decision-making Haynes King now has, I guess, in his senior season, or it is... Yeah, Haynes King's a senior. Malik Rutherford's a good receiver. I'll give him that, but I just think Virginia Tech's the way better football team. I'm finally willing to ride with the Hokies. I haven't done it, I don't think, in a couple weeks, just because I think that Rutgers loss kind of just was like, all right, I'm not picking Virginia Tech anymore. I am going back to VTech. If they don't win this week, we're done picking Virginia Tech. No, I don't know. We'll see. Give me the Hokies, though. Next up, we stay in the ACC. UNC takes on Virginia. Give me UVA. Give me UVA as 5-point favorites. Guys, both these teams are absolutely horrid. North Carolina's coming off 4 straight losses. They lost, they had James Madison put 70 on their head. They lost by 1 to Duke. They lost to Pitt, 10-point game. They lost to Georgia Tech by 7 points. Virginia, I think they're better. Their losses are Maryland, Louisville, Clemson, but they've lost 2 in a row. Their last one being Boston College, which was another disappointing BC game, but it's fine. I think Virginia wins this football game. They are all around the better team. Anthony Calandria is not a horrible quarterback for this squad. They're just better than North Carolina. It's that simple. Virginia struggles from the ball a lot, but if they can establish their run game, they will beat up on UNC. Again, I don't trust in North Carolina at all. This is a team, again, that has not won a football game since September. They have not won a football game against an FBS school since September 7th. And before that, it took them a win over Minnesota, where they won that game by 2 points. But they have just not been the same team without Max Johnson. This is the team that's obviously missing Max Johnson. And they're just not the same team. Virginia beats them. This game is in Virginia as well. I like the Cavaliers to win this football game, and I like them to cover by 5 points as well. Next up, the Buffalo Bulls take on the Ohio Bobcats. Guys, okay, one loss for Buffalo doesn't really dictate their season. I understand they lost to Western Michigan at home by 7 points. It was rough. If you were sitting in front of your TV and watching Buffalo and Western Michigan like I was, Buffalo got robbed at the end of that game. There's no way, no how Western Michigan got the first down at the end of that game. It should have been a stop for Buffalo on 4th down. It would have got them the football back to the 25-yard line. We would have had a minute to go 25 yards to send that game into overtime. We got robbed last week with the Buffalo Bulls. You hear me? We got screwed. Okay? We got absolutely screwed. My guys got screwed that game, and now this is their get back. They are on the road against Ohio, and you can keep your damn points. What is it? 6? You might want to take that. But you can keep them. We're taking the Buffalo Bulls. Give me Buffalo. Guys, last week, our guy, CJ, our boy CJ, I still know how to say his last name. It's fine. Our boy CJ was balling last week. 365 yards passing, his best passing performance of the season. Obviously, the run game gets going with Henderson and with Barksdale, but Buffalo played a tremendous game last week, and they got robbed at the end of that one. They showed the capability of throwing the football for the first time this season. They ran the ball effectively as well. We just need their defense to kind of show up. The thing is, Ohio's offense, no Curtis Rourke anymore, means no more winning for Ohio. Parker Navarro is nowhere near what Curtis Rourke is, obviously. And last week, they made the change to Nick Poulos, who's not much better either. Sure, they can run the ball. I'll give him that. Anthony Tyrus is a really good running back for the MAC. I don't care. Give me Buffalo. You can keep your damn points. +6, get out of here. Give me Buffalo to cover. Give me them to win, and they'll cover too. Next up, we've got Charlotte taking on Memphis. I'm never making the god-awful decision of picking Charlotte in a football game ever again. If they have 49ers in their name, you don't pick them. Give me the Memphis Tigers to win this football game, and it's not even close. Memphis is in the running to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to have the steam to do that because of their loss to Navy, which is unfortunate for Memphis because this is a really good football team. It is a dominant football team. Shout Mario Anderson, 190 yards last week. Seth Hennigan, we talk about him all the time as being one of the best American quarterbacks. Of course, we're talking about out of the American Conference. Memphis is a great football team. They're going to beat the brakes off of Charlotte. Charlotte has all that trouble at quarterback right now, especially with their injuries. Right, last week it was Max Brown as the starter. Max Brown didn't play all that well. He got trucked in the end zone after a Navy pick 6, which was kind of funny. But regardless of that, Charlotte's just not very good. I kind of was pumping them up a little bit because they're whenever East Carolina, and they beat Rice. No, East Carolina just is not good. Charlotte, we're gonna pipe down on Charlotte a little bit here. They're in for a little rough stretch. They've got Memphis this weekend, and they got to play Tulane on Halloween. It's going to be a spooky and scary night for Charlotte next Halloween. That was bad. But give me Memphis. They're just the better football team, guys. Their offense is going to be able to put up points. Charlotte's offense won't be able to. Again, Navy put a beat down on Memphis. I understand they're different teams. But Memphis, again, another one of these high-powered offenses. They get on the ball quickly and they go. Memphis is going to give Charlotte a lot of problems. They're only getting 18.5. Yeah, they're going to win this game by 4 touchdowns. Give me Memphis to absolutely dominate Charlotte. The game's in Memphis as well. This is all Memphis in this one. Next up, we go to Tulane and North Texas. I just think 8 points is too much. I'm going to outright say it. I like the mean green. Who wins the football game? Probably Tulane, but I just think 8 points is too much. Again, I could easily see this one going down to the wire. It's a 1-score game. If it's a 1-score game, we win, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to take that to our advantage here. Guys, North Texas's only losses this year are Memphis and Texas Tech. Now, I don't know what the hell happened to Texas Tech last week. I will talk about the Red Raiders later on in this video, and I'm going to talk about the team that beat them in Baylor as well. But it's fine. North Texas has looked really good. One loss to Memphis, who we are just hyping up, does not dictate your season. North Texas is a good football team. I really like the mean green, and I will continue to like the mean green for the rest of the season. I want to give a huge shout out to their quarterback, Chandler Morris, who puts up absolute numbers every single week. 450 yards last week, and he does that almost every single game. Like, seriously. Chandler Morris, per game, I think throws like 335 yards. He's that good. Sure, they really just only throw the football, but it's fine. Shout out DT Sheffield and the guys over at North Texas. They're going to put up numbers against Tulane. They're a tough team also to just get away from. I get it. Maybe Tulane wins the football game and they put up 70 points against UAB. But I get it. Tulane puts up points. But at the same time, North Texas is a hard team just to keep, just to run right through. Because they're going to keep competing and they're going to, with that passing game, they can always get back in the football game in a hurry. I think North Texas covers. Who wins the football game? Probably Tulane, but I don't mind the North Texas underdog pick, especially with this game being in Texas as well. Give me UNT to cover. The winner, you can make that decision yourself. I think North Texas has a chance to win the football game. I would slightly favor Tulane, but definitely I like the spread for the mean green. We go to the Southeastern Conference. We've got Arkansas and Mississippi State. So Mississippi State has been, they've been phenomenal in just covering football games for us recently. I'm looking at the Georgia game. I'm looking at the Texas game. Last week, though, they covered against Texas A&M as well. So this has just been a team that has literally just covered every single week for us. And I get it. Why is everyone down on Mississippi State? Why are they getting these crazy lines? Because they lost to Toledo at home. It's fine. They're going to keep covering for us, okay? And now Vegas is starting to pick up the book. See, okay, Mississippi State literally covers every single week, even against good SEC schools, Texas, Georgia, and A&M, they cover every single week. Okay, +7. We're going to continue to ride with the Bulldogs. Again, good teams win, great teams cover. Shout out the Mississippi State Bulldogs. They are covering for us week in and week out. They are playing good football, guys. Michael Van Buren is playing decent football for this football team. They're not that bad. They're just playing good enough to lose against good teams, which doesn't always dictate that you straight up win football games, which, are they going to beat Arkansas? I don't know. The jury's still out on that one. But Arkansas is a team that's coming off a huge loss to LSU last week, lost by 24 points. Yeah, they beat Tennessee, but the SEC is just confusing because Tennessee beat Bama, so I don't really have a point there, I'm going to be honest with you. But Arkansas lost to A&M before that by 4 points, right? Sure, Arkansas is good. Is Arkansas going to beat Mississippi State? Yeah, probably. I think they will. Arkansas's offense lacks. They don't have a run game. Their passing game is just iffy with Taylon Green. Taylon Green sometimes has good games, sometimes he has really bad games. He's not a reliable quarterback for Arkansas. Overall, yes. Are they the better team? Sure. Are they going to win the football game? Yes. But Mississippi State's good enough to cover. They do that every single week, and they might shock you and win the game. I think Arkansas wins it by a field goal. +7's way too much. I really like +7.5 if you can get it. But giving Mississippi State to cover the football game. Ultimately, though, I do think Arkansas wins. But again, it wouldn't surprise me if Mississippi State pulls off the upset. Next up, we go to App State versus Georgia State. 8 points again is just too much in this game between these two Sun Belt schools. I get it. Georgia State's 0-3 in the Sun Belt this year, but you know who else is 0-3? App State. App State's been bad this season. There's no other way to put it. Their defense can't stop anything. You know, my high school team, you know, when I was back in my day when I was slinging the rock, you know, I could have put up numbers against the App State defense because it's just atrociously bad, guys. Their defense is not good. You see what Georgia State's been able to do. Sure, they've lost 3 in a row. Georgia Southern, ODU, and Marshall. That's fine. But again, anybody I think can put up numbers against this team because App State just doesn't play good defense. So with that being said, 8 points is just way too much. It's way too many points. They're not going to be able to cover that. I think, does App State win? Probably. They do have a better offense. I will give them that. But guys, anybody can score against Appalachian State. Again, throw me in there for Georgia State at quarterback. This is no disrespect, by the way, to their starter. And it's Zach Gibson now. Well, actually, Zach Gibson had a really good game last week. I'm not gonna lie to you. He did decent in relief. But you know, throw me in there, guys. I think I could put up numbers against Appalachian State. You know, real quick, like, look at this. Hold on. Oh, God. There we go. Like, look. You know, if this focus is, I mean, look at this is a dime, guys. Like, throw me in there. Throw me in there against Appalachian State. I think I can put up numbers against the school. Regardless of that. App State, literally, they get scored on every single week. 34 last week against Louisiana, 52 against Marshall, 48 against South Alabama. Clemson, who cares? It's Clemson. But their offense is lacking. Sure, they kind of put up points. I think they do have a slightly better offense than Georgia State. But these are not, you know, Appalachian State is not 8 points better than Georgia State. These two teams are very evenly matched. I like how I just used this one game, just make an example why I should be playing college football. That's a joke. You know, the team that wants to give me a chance, you know, I can still sling it. Regardless, give me Georgia State to cover the 8 points. Okay. Next up, let's go to we've got Central Michigan and Miami of Ohio. We're going to the MAC. Give me the MACtion here, and I'm going to take Central Michigan to cover 12.5 points. Again, that's just too much. Miami of Ohio doesn't really beat anybody by that much. I get it. The East Michigan win is the outlier. And a game that I said I really liked East Michigan in because who wouldn't? Like, it was just weird. They somehow blew the brakes off of East Michigan. But other than that, Miami of Ohio doesn't really destroy anybody. And Central Michigan is one of these teams, guys, that is just good enough just to lose. Like, they stay in football games. They keep games competitive. They kind of shoot themselves in the foot at the end of the games. They've tried 3 different quarterbacks in the last 3 weeks. They need to go back to Joe Labus. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if Labus is hurt or not. I don't know Central Michigan football like that. I don't think he is. I think they just went to, who was it last week? It was Bert Emanuel Jr., who threw 6 passes and completed 4 of them for 100 yards. I am a little bit regretting my pick here, but I like Marion Lukes. I think Lukes is a decent running back for this team. Miami of Ohio, yeah, they beat Ohio by 10 points. Again, I have been picking against the Redhawks every single week. Again, yes, I have nothing against Brett Gabbert and the guys, but I just been picking against the Redhawks every single week, and I'm going to continue to pick against the Redhawks. Again, I just don't think they're that much better than these MAC schools. Like, I know they have a lot of, you know, kind of momentum around them because, oh, you know, they played Cincinnati tough. Kind of. They played Northwestern tough. They played Toledo tough. They didn't really play Notre Dame tough, but they still covered because the line was 28 and they lost 28-3. Sound familiar, Atlanta? Regardless, give me Central Michigan to cover the 12.5 points. They'll figure something out on offense. They do run the ball effectively. Passing the ball, it's a struggle for the Chippewas, I'm not going to lie. But give me CMU to cover on the road here against Miami of Ohio, who I just don't think is that great. Now, I've been wrong back-to-back weeks about Miami of Ohio. I'm not going to lie to you. This is the week we're right. Okay? This is the week we're right. If we're wrong, then we're all over Miami of Ohio next week against Ball State, all right? We are all over them. But for now, give me the Chippewas. Next up, Temple and East Carolina. I feel like I just can't remember a damn thing about what Temple does every single week. This is the one team in college football where it's like, oh, Temple plays. And like every game that Temple plays to me is just a blur. The only game I can vividly remember Temple playing is the Utah State game. Other than that, like, they do nothing that's all that impressive. East Carolina is not that impressive either. So you know what? Give me the Owls. They throw the ball all the damn time. They literally have zero run game. For East Carolina, this is a team that has been on the losing end of 2 blowouts back to back. Charlotte blew them out. Army blew them out. They just kind of just stayed in the game with Army and kept competing, but they weren't really in it at all. They were down by 21 points. I woke up at like 9:30. I was 30 minutes late. I missed my alarm. Whoops. But I wake up, the college football game, the early slate's been going for 30 minutes, and I check my phone, like, oh, Army's up 21-0 against East Carolina. That's how good Army is. We'll get to Army eventually. East Carolina can't take care of the football. They throw more interceptions than touchdowns. That's why Temple's going to stay in this football game, because East Carolina shoots themselves in the foot too many times. They make too many mistakes. Am I saying Temple's going to go on the road and beat ECU? No, but I think that's too many points for ECU to just straight up dominate. The Pirates are not that good, okay? Give me Temple to cover the 7 points. Who wins? Probably ECU, but 7 points is simply just too much. Let's go to the Big Ten. Iowa taking on Northwestern. Okay, I get it. Iowa laid a complete egg last week. I completely faded Aiden Childs and the Michigan State Spartans. I'm done fading them for now until they have another bad performance. Whoops, if that gives away a pick later on in the video. But Northwestern's absolutely horrible. They're absolutely horrible. The Maryland game makes absolutely no sense, and I know, and regardless, I picked them to actually win that football. I don't know if I picked them to cover. I didn't give a prediction on if they were going to win or not. So again, it makes no sense. But sometimes college football, guys, makes no sense. They went on the road on a Friday night and beat Maryland. I thought they were going to cover the spread. No, they straight up won the football game. Okay, after watching them play Wisconsin, I don't know if that's just Wisconsin's really good or Northwestern's just really bad. Now, I take back my previous statement of, oh, Northwestern's just horrible. They're not great, but they're not horrible. My thing is they match up horribly with Iowa because they can't score. And they play okay, decent defense, but Northwestern's not going to be, if they're not able to score against Wisconsin, what the hell's going to happen when they play Iowa? I get it. Iowa's defense was not great last week against Michigan State, but Northwestern has nowhere near the offense that the Michigan State Spartans have. We're going to be fine picking Iowa in this football game. They have one of the best running backs in college football. Caleb Johnson's having a tremendous season. He's not having an Ashton Genty season, obviously, because he doesn't rip off 80-yard touchdowns every game, but he's been having a really good year. He's averaging 8 yards a carry. He's got already 1,000 yards this season, 13 touchdowns. Obviously, their pass game is nothing special with Cade McNamara, but Caleb Johnson's having a great season running the ball, and he should be able to run right over Northwestern here, a team that literally does nothing all that well. And again, they match up completely horribly with Iowa, because they can't score. They usually win defensive games. They usually win because their defense plays well, but they're going to be stuck just trying to stuff the run all game, which Caleb Johnson has had success against every team so far this year, running the football, except for Ohio State. But even that game, I think he still ran for like 80 yards, right? 90 yards in that game against Ohio State. Caleb Johnson is going to find success against any team he plays. The thing with Iowa that you can key in on is just how good is their opponent. And how good is their opponent's offense? Their defense really doesn't matter, because Iowa is going to score they're going to score their 17 to 20-ish points at the very least. I think in this game they scored 28. We're getting 14. I think Northwestern at most scores 10 points. Okay, at most. Personally, I think they might get shut out. Okay, if they get shut out, then you only need 17 points out of Iowa than you cover. You only really need 15, but 17 is much more likely. I think Iowa wins the football game. 28-10 is your final. 23 is your final. Give me Iowa to win and give me them to cover at home as well. All right, on to the next slate. We've got more, obviously. Maryland versus Minnesota. Okay, so the two teams that just beat USC. Let's all take a moment. Let's all laugh at USC. I'm not going to do it, but, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity at home. Just laugh at USC. Okay? I didn't do that earlier because it wasn't the time, because we are picking USC this week, and if they lose next week, we're going to laugh at USC some more. Okay? But for now, we've got the two teams that just beat Southern California. I think Minnesota is slightly better. Max Brosmer, it took him a little bit to kind of just get going, not playing teams like he was last year because he was at New Hampshire. But Max Brosmer is doing a good job. I like Max Brosmer. I think he's been playing much better than he did at the start of the season. The run game with Darius Taylor is not bad. Daniel Jackson's a good receiver. Minnesota's got weapons on offense. They do. right? They couldn't get their run game going last week against UCLA. They still beat UCLA because UCLA is just atrocious. That was 2 weeks ago, but still. For Maryland, right, this is a team that barely got by USC, which I was very surprised that they did. Billy Edwards plays good football. He'll chuck it, and he'll throw, obviously, to his guy, Ty Felton. Those two guys have got it going. That's what's going to give Minnesota, I think, some troubles this week. But I think, ultimately, Minnesota's the better team. I think they are. I think their offense, especially if they can get their run game going. This game is solely dependent on me, or for me, on if Minnesota can get their run game going. Because if they can, they should be able to win this football game. Last week, though, again, last week, 30 yards rushing against UCLA is not going to cut it. But their game before that, where they beat USC, Darius Taylor at 150 yards, right? Like, it's completely dependent on what their run game is. Because Max Prosper, in my opinion, who has been playing better, I don't think it's good enough just to carry the load just being a passer of the football, right? They had to come back and beat UCLA, which is great. They got the win at the end of the game, but that's because UCLA kind of sucks. I think they should be able to beat Maryland. Maryland kind of just had a one-hit wonder game where they beat USC. Who cares? The game's in Minneapolis. That means I like Minnesota. They're going to cover the 4.5, and they're going to win the football game. Okay, we go next to UConn and Rice. UConn, man. I finally, last week was my awakening with UConn, right? Like every week I'm just kind of like on UConn. I'm never high on them. And last week I was like, all right, this is time for the Huskies. Screw basketball. It's a football school. Okay, they just won back-to-back chips, but still, UConn football's here to stay. Let's go Connecticut. They get Wake Forest, huge spot at home, and they lose. Lose the game by 3 points to Hank Bachmer and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, who I was considering watching play this week in person, when I'll get to them very shortly. Actually, it's literally the next game, so I'm going to save anything I have about Wake Forest. This is about UConn. Guys, you beat Buffalo. You beat my guys by 44 points. You beat Temple by 9. You beat FAU. Here comes the boom, 48-14. You only lose to Duke by 5 points, and you lose to Wake Forest at home. I'm tempted to take Rice here just because they have a prodigy and E.J. Warner as their starting quarterback. But, E.J. Warner, who's already at a better college than his father ever was, his Hall of Fame father, is not, he's not like his father. He's good. Don't get me wrong. Actually, okay. No, that's too harsh on E.J. Warner. He's not horrible. E.J. Warner is not a bad football player. I think E.J. Warner is going to get a shot somewhere in the NFL in 2 seasons. I think he will. I think he'll be a late round pick. Obviously, the last name helps. I think E.J. Warner eventually someday will get a shot in the NFL. I think he will. Depending on if he transfers or not, he needs to, make better decisions with the football. He has almost as many interceptions as he does touchdowns. But E.J. Warner does sling it. I'll give him credit. E.J. Warner slings the football. Dean Connors is their running back. Like, honestly, the more I've been watching Rice, the more impressed I have been getting, because E.J. Warner has been playing better football. So I apologize for taking a hit on E.J. Warner earlier on in this prediction, because he's actually not that horrible. He's really not. Actually, he's pretty solid, I think. I would make the case he's not one of the better quarterbacks in the American. He's like upper half of the quarterbacks in the American Conference. Regardless, give me UConn. They gotta have the bounce back week, right? Like, this has to be UConn's week to bounce back. What are they getting? 6.5. Yeah, give me UConn to win the game by a touchdown. Next up, Stanford and Wake Forest. So yeah, the Demon Deacons, who we were talking about earlier. I was gonna go to Stanford to watch this game this week, but I saw this game's at 12:30. It's at the same time UFC's on. Like, literally, Hamzat and Robert Whitaker are gonna be fighting at this time. I'm like, it's just not worth it. Why would I go sit in the sun? It's gonna be 70 degrees. But regardless, why would I go to Stanford and just watch a bad football team play another, getting better football team? But it's Wake Forest, guys. They're just Wake Forest. Hank Bachmer is playing all right, but they do nothing all that impressive. They do nothing to wow you. And you don't see Wake Forest on the schedule and be like, oh, that's where I'm gonna be at 12:30. No, it's just they're just the Demon Deacons. They haven't been the same since Sam Hartman left. They have not been the same since then. And for Stanford, man. Oh, Stanford. Who gets to start at quarterback? Is it Ashton Daniels? Is it Elijah Brown? Is it Justin Lampson? Who is it going to be? I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be... Is it Elijah Brown now? I think it's Elijah Brown. Justin Lampson got his one start. Didn't go too well. It's fine. It didn't go well for another person with the last name Lampson. Never mind. You can look that up if you want to. Stanford's just not good. They're just not. They don't find ways to get like Io Manor the ball like they did last year. especially that Colorado game. Stanford just doesn't have the offensive, explosiveness at all. And yeah, Wake Forest isn't great, but they're better than Stanford, right? Wake Forest has shown that they can win ACC football games. And yeah, UConn's not an ACC school, but they're able to win close football games. They beat NC State by 4 points on the road. That is a good, gritty victory. And regardless of what happened in their game against Clemson, it's fine. I like them a lot more than I do Stanford. I want Ashton Daniels to start. I think he's the best quarterback on this roster. I get it. He had a bad game against Notre Dame. Who cares? It's Notre Dame. They have a really good defense, one of the best in the country. They should go back to him. But for Stanford, guys, I think Stanford loses out. They're not beating Wake Forest. They're not going... Oh, NC State's really bad. But they're not going to go to Raleigh and win. They're not beating Louisville. They're not beating Cal. And they're certainly not beating our guys over there in San Jose. Yeah, Stanford's going to be 2-10 this season. Wow. How did this team beat Syracuse on the road? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. They beat Syracuse. I get it. Ashton Daniels wasn't the reason they won that football game, but still, they beat Syracuse. Oh no, you lose to Clemson. And then, we're going to go to Justin Lamson. What are we doing? What are we doing? Give me Stanford. Give me Wake Forest, because Stanford sucks. Wake Forest cover 3. Next up, Baylor and Oklahoma State. So Baylor is a confusing team because they somehow beat Texas Tech and just absolutely beat the brakes off Texas Tech last week. They could run the ball effectively. Bryson Washington had a career game, and Sawyer Robertson has been decent all season long, but had a really good game last week against a good Texas Tech team. It was weird because they went to Texas Tech and they absolutely dominated. They won 59-35. Maybe I should have seen it coming because Baylor has played close games against good teams all year long. Like, seriously, look at every single game Baylor's played this season, right? Daquan Finn's final start. Shout out the former Toledo Rocket, who, it's unfortunate Daquan Finn's no longer the starter, but it's fine. They've been better with Sawyer Robertson. I'm not going to try to say that Daquan Finn's been better. He is not. But they lose a game on the road against Utah, and that's when Utah still has something to play for, so it's fine. Utah was ranked 11 at the time. They lose to Colorado in overtime. It took a miracle from Shedeur Sanders and company to win the football game. They lost to BYU by 6 points, who is now a top 10 team. They lose to Iowa State, who's a top 10 team, and they beat Texas Tech. This team's not that bad. However, 6.5 is just too many points. It's just too many points. It's too many points. Oklahoma State finally showed up last week. It's about damn time. Now, it was primarily their just defense playing really well. Like, usually it's Alan Bowman who's the one who's just leading the charge, and he's kind of doing everything. No, their defense played exceptionally well against BYU last week. Ollie Gordon finally had a good week. It feels like he's had bad week after bad week after bad week this season. He finally cracked 100 yards last week for the first time. For the first time since August when he did, since August when he did that against South Dakota State. Now, I may have said the Jackrabbits are going to win that football game. I think the read was still right because look at what they've done since the South Dakota State game. Regardless of that fact, Oklahoma State, I think, stays in this ball game with Baylor. Do I think they beat the Bears? Personally, no. I will stay in the football game, though. I just think 7 points is too much, especially for a Baylor team that, they beat Texas Tech, but they played close games all season long. I think Oklahoma State's it finally looks like they're getting it going. Their defense is playing better. I know they give up a lot of points against BYU. BYU had that touchdown at the end of the game to win it from 45 yards out. I understand that. That's fine. Oklahoma State, again, I think they've got it. They've not got it going, but they figured some stuff out. I'm taking Oklahoma State to cover the 6.5 points. I would love +7 here. We're not going to get it. I just don't think Baylor's that much better than Oklahoma State. I think, again, if you put Oklahoma State in some of the same scenarios that Baylor's in, I think they have close games just like Baylor does as well. We'll see. Give me Oklahoma State to cover this football game. 6.5 is just too much. And now we go to TCU versus Texas Tech. Guys, I don't care Texas Tech played horribly last week. I really don't. This is a lock. I hate using the word lock, but they are not losing to Texas Christian. I don't give a damn what you saw last week with TCU and Utah. And I sat in front of my television set. It's a very old term saying, but I sat in front of my TV and watched Utah play TCU. It was one of the worst offensive performances I have ever seen. Okay? But I sat there and watched Isaac Wilson versus Josh Hoover. And guys, Josh Hoover, the last 2 weeks has been absolutely atrocious. I don't give a damn. He's been bad. Oh, his stats don't look that bad. No, he's been bad. He was horrible in the Houston game. He was horrible in the Utah game. TCU had so many chances to put the dagger into Utah, and they couldn't do it because Josh Hoover missed passes. It took them going wildcat half the game with Savion Williams for them to actually win the game. All right, TCU's not good. oh, they played good defense last week against Utah. They fixed themselves. No, Utah just can't. They don't have an offense. I will get to Utah later, and I think I have Utah figured out. I think I do. I think I actually might. Texas Tech had one bad week. They lost to Baylor. They still put up 35 points. They couldn't stop them on defense. TCU's not going to run right through Texas Tech on offense. It's just not going to happen. TCU doesn't have that explosive of an offense. Guys, Quentin Johnston, Kendre Miller, Zach Evans, and Max Duggan are no longer there. It's not the same Texas Christian team. It has not been in 2 years, okay? Texas Tech, I get it. They lost to Baylor at home. What happened before that? They beat Arizona. They beat Cincinnati and put up 44 points against them. They beat Arizona State. They beat North Texas and put up 66 points against them. I get it. They played bad on the road this season, and they've only played on the road once this year. Most of their games the rest of the way are on the road. I get it. They lost to Wazoo 37-16. All right, going to Pullman's rough, okay? Going to East Washington is just a rough game. It's fine. They obviously bounced back after their last loss. They're gonna bounce back after this loss. Give me Texas Tech all day long. You know, I was like, when I saw this line for the first time, I was like, am I missing something? Like, I was like, is Morton hurt? I legitimately, I was like, am I missing something? Is Morton not playing this week? Did something happen to him? No, nothing happened. Who cares they got embarrassed on homecoming? That's just more motivation. Taj Brooks runs the ball really well. TCU, they had a good game last week against a horrid offense. That does not mean they can play defense. Their offense still sucks. I did not forget about their loss to Houston. Give me Texas Tech. Okay, I feel so great about that football game. 7-point dogs, keep your damn points. Give me Texas Tech. I feel even better than this with this game than I do the Buffalo game, by far. Give me Texas Tech. Next up, JMU plays Southern Miss. Anything James Madison does for the rest of the season, I truly can't get a read on this team, man. It's weird. They have, okay, so literally, let's just look at their last 5 weeks, okay? Let's look at this together. James Madison's last 5 weeks, and they literally make 0 sense, okay? They beat North Carolina 70-50. Holy crap. They beat Ball State 63-7. Great. On the road at UL Monroe. Okay, we did not know how good UL Monroe, the Warhawks, were at the time, so I'm fine with that. They lost on the road. I think it was a Thursday night. They lose by 2 points. Okay, but they beat Coastal Carolina 39-7. Then after that, they lose to Georgia Southern 28-14. What's the common denominator in their 2 losses in the Sun Belt? On the road. They get Southern Miss at home. Okay, again, James Madison has not made sense this season. They have an explosive offense only when they feel like it, right? But their explosive offense, I get it. They did really well on the road against UNC, but their wins in conference play, which they only have 1 because Ball State's in the MAC, but their win against Coastal was dominant. They put up 39 points. They played good defense. They were at home. They're at home this week in Southern Miss. Alonzo Barnett's good. He's got, 1,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, 1 pick this season. He's been playing good football. Their run game, it's okay. Southern Miss, okay, will they have to score 24.5? Yeah, they should be able to do it. Southern Miss can't score. Well, they kind of can score, but they can't stop anybody defensively. James Madison literally might put up 70 points. I'm not joking. They might put up that many points. Southern Miss's defense is horrible. They fired their coach. He's gone. He went 14-30 to start his career with Southern Miss, so he's gone. New head coach. I don't care. It doesn't get that much better for them, okay? It's still Ethan Crawford, right? It's not Tate Rodemaker, who... Tate Rodemaker's better than Ethan Crawford. I don't give a damn. He's so much better than Crawford. Guys, Ethan Crawford has 600 yards this season, 0 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Tate Rodemaker, and by the way, he's throwing the ball at a 49% completion rate. Tate Rodemaker, 64% completion rate, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's not blowing anybody away, but they benched Tate Rodemaker after their loss against their win over Southeastern Louisiana. And they played him the Raging Cajuns game, whatever. They played Crawford the last 2 weeks. Crawford, okay, yeah, he can run the football, but he's not a good thrower of the ball. Give Tate Rodemaker the keys back to this offense. Until they do that, Southern Miss is still going to suck. Give me JMU, and by the way, again, it's really, honestly, it's not the offense that's holding Southern Miss back. It's their defense. So give me JMU all day long. All right, next up, Eastern Michigan takes on Akron. Okay, Eastern Michigan has killed us the last couple weeks. I'm not going to lie, all right? I have been severely disappointed in the Eastern Michigan Eagles. I'm not going to deny that, right? Barely beat Central Michigan, got the breaks, got blown out at home against Miami of Ohio, still covered against Kent State. We'll take it. We'll get to the flashes later on. But East Michigan's going to cover the 3 points against Akron. Akron is nowhere near the football team Eastern Michigan is. Akron plays close games. but they kind of just scratch and claw their way back in at the end of it. And don't get me wrong, I like Ben Finley a lot. Ben Finley slings it. The former Cal Bear, I like Ben Finley. I really do. I think he's a good quarterback. But as a whole, Eastern Michigan is just the better football team. Their losses are Miami of Ohio and Washington. Okay, they go to Akron. It's not like there is a crazy home field advantage in Akron for the Zips, okay? DJ Irons is gone, all right? Akron's not the same team, even though I'll make the case Ben Finley's better than DJ Irons is, even though I really like DJ Irons. So my favorite moment watching college football, guys, we're into a quick blast from the past, all right? I don't know how much you're gonna be able to see this. If I was a little bit smarter, I would have just had this prepared and I would have shown this to you on the actual screen here. But you know what? I completely do my videos on the fly and I think of ideas as I do it on the fly. So a quick throwback to last year, okay? Akron played Indiana in Bloomington. Now, I don't go to the University of Indiana anymore because personally, I didn't want to pay $65,000 a year for tuition. I'll just be honest with you. I just didn't, okay? Do I regret that this season because of how they are this year? No, but would it have been cool to go to College Game Day this year and Big Noon last week, Big Noon kickoff? Yeah, it would have been. It would have been kind of cool to watch that team play well this year in terms of the college football ranks, and maybe their basketball team doesn't suck like it did last year. But hey, Greedo plays college basketball predictions coming back at you on the channel later this year. Regardless, my favorite college football game I've ever attended, I'm not gonna lie, was Akron in Indiana. Guys, look how excited I was when I saw DJ Irons score a touchdown in overtime to beat Indiana. Again, if I had this prepared, I would have, shown this to you. I would have shown this to you earlier on, or I would have this prepared on the screen. But guys, listen to my reaction watching DJ Irons score a touchdown against the Indiana Hoosiers. If this can focus, here we go. Look at this. DJ Irons scrambles. It's in overtime, by the way. Look at this. Scrambles. Look at this. Excuse my language, and don't ask who was holding the camera, but guys, how about the Zips? Okay, I did all that to just pick Eastern Michigan. I just wanted to tell that story because it was hilarious. Akron ended up losing the football game. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I had like $150 on Akron that game just because of how bad Indiana was. I'm not gonna lie to you. Don't ever do this, and I've learned my lesson since. Again, I'm going on a very long tangent about Akron, but I find this very funny. So, again, I bet against Indiana every single game last year, right? Just because they were just horrible, right? Like, I watched them play Ohio State. They were decent, but I saw the Indiana State game. They, whatever. Regardless, I bet against them every single week. I said, keep your damn points. Actually, no. I bet the spread. So I didn't actually lose money on this game, but I bet a lot on the spread for Akron to cover. It was like the biggest bet I had ever made up until that point in time, okay? I bet Akron to cover the points, and they easily do it. The game goes into overtime, but as the game goes on, I just keep seeing the line. I bet the money line originally, but I only put like, $20 on it, $10 on it. But still, it was like plus like 2,000 Akron. They weren't supposed to be close because Akron, going into the last year, Akron was they were Kent State. They were the worst team in college football. But I got my guy, DJ Irons. I'm a huge fan. And as the game went on, I kept betting it, and I put eventually I just canceled out my point spread bet, right? We got the points they covered, but eventually I had it where I was like, I had put in, it was probably more than $150, but I got to the point where I was like, all right, if Akron wins this football game, for the most part, I'm covered. I did well in my bets earlier that day. I remember we cashed a big bet. I think we bet like Marina Rodriguez to beat Michelle Watterson in the UFC or whatnot, but if Akron would have won that football game, I kid you not, I was going to take a trip to New York later that week because I was like, I'm going to win so much. And I was so emotionally invested in that football game. And you do not understand how sad I was when Akron didn't win that game. They got to triple overtime and lost Indiana. I had such hate in my heart for Indiana after that. And I went to the school, but I was like, I'm going to make so much money. Like, Akron's going to win. Regardless, I did just take 5 minutes telling that story. And I told you that story just to pick Eastern Michigan. They're the better football team. I already given you my pick. But Eastern Michigan's the better football team. They're better than Akron. I get it. Ben Finley throws for a lot of yards, but a lot of those yards are when they're just trailing games. Eastern Michigan, they better not screw me for the third straight week. Give me the Eagles. All right, we stay in the MAC. NIU versus Ball State. 11 points is kind of rough for Northern Illinois, I'm not going to lie. just because, they're coming off a 6-point loss last week against Toledo at home. Sorry, 7-point loss against Toledo at home. They only put up 6 points. The week before that, they beat Bowling Green by 10 points. They beat Massachusetts the week before that by 14. I don't know. Ball State, though, they're pitiful. I get it. They stayed in the game with Vanderbilt. That's the highest of highs Ball State's ever going to have. I'm not going to go over my Ball State versus Kent State story from 2 weeks ago. If you want to see that, go back to the last video that we posted last week, and I give a 5-minute breakdown about Kent State and Ball State, because we love the MAC here. It was Scott Van Pelt did a whole segment about that game and about how it was one of the worst bad beats of all time. And of course, we were on Ball State. It's okay. Shout out Krishan McCray. Shout out Tommy Ulatowski. But give me Northern Illinois. BYU. Ball State is coming off that high of, they beat Kent State and, they stayed in the game with Vanderbilt. No, NIU is going to actually win a football game. They're actually going to do it dominantly this week. Actually, no. Give me Ball State. God, I feel horrible about this pick. NIU is definitely winning the football game. I know the graphics is plus 11. I'm not going to lie to you. Did I forget my pick earlier? Yeah, I did. NIU is just so unimpressive. Okay, NIU is definitely winning. Ball State, I guess, stays within 11. Guys, just don't bet this football game. Again, you're seeing the levels of confusion in my head about Ball State and Northern Illinois, because, guys, these teams don't make sense. They just don't. How does Ball State only lose by 10 points to Vandy, who beat Alabama? And then for Northern Illinois, they beat Notre Dame. They lost to Buffalo, like we said they were going to. But then they lose to Toledo at home. Make it make sense. Don't bet on it. Seriously, the pick is plus 11 Ball State, but do not touch this. Oh, the game's at Ball State? Oh, no, Ball State all day long. It's in Indiana. Yeah, I think. Don't bet on it. Do not bet on this one. We're going to stay in the MAC. We got 2 more MAC games, holy crap. Bowling Green and Toledo, they all play at 12:30. Give me Toledo. Give me Toledo. Toledo's a better football team. Bowling Green, if you don't know, has one of the best tight ends in all of college football. He might be the best tight end in college football. I truly think he is. It's Harold Fannin Jr. He's got 900 yards this season so far. He gets the ball all the time. Connor Bazelak loves throwing him the ball, and he's really good. He is a dominant tight end for Bowling Green. Toledo's not bad. The thing with Bowling Green, though, is if you can shut down Harold Fannin, who has over half of Connor Bazelak's yards this season, you're going to beat Bowling Green. They struggle to put up points at times. We said plus 21 for Kent State last week was virtually a lock. Now they pushed, so, I don't feel horrible about it. I really don't. Because my thing was, again, can Bowling Green score them more than 21 points? And they barely did. But they've had games where they just struggle to put up points. Yeah, they played close games against Penn State, Texas A&M, and ODU, which are not bad. But they've gotten into the MAC, and they have not been that dominant team that some people thought they were going to be. Some people thought, Bowling Green was going to get into the MAC, and they were just going to roll teams because of how close they played Penn State, how close they played A&M. No, it doesn't work like that. Toledo plays gritty MAC football. Their only loss is Buffalo, but you know how much and how highly we think of Buffalo. Tucker Gleason, I believe, is injured, right? I'm pretty sure Gleason's injured, if I'm not mistaken. I think he is. So it's John Allen Richter, which he's done a decent job at filling in relief. They don't run the football well, Toledo doesn't, but they throw the ball, and they throw it all the time. Give me Toledo to cover the 2.5 points. The game is in the Glass Bowl. Give me the Toledo Rockets to cover the 2.5 points. As again, we stay in the MAC. This is just the MAC portion of the video. The Kent State Golden Flashes, our guys, take on the Western Michigan Broncos. For the first time ever, again, I picked Kent State last week. Unfortunately, guys, I'm not picking Kent State this week. We're taking Western Michigan. Western Michigan's on a 3-game winning streak. They are 3-0 in the MAC, and they are the only team that's undefeated in the MAC as well. Now, we just talked about how they robbed Buffalo. I saw Hayden Wolf, sneak into the referee's office before the game, or the referee's little meeting, and I saw Hayden Wolf hand him a $100 bill. I'm joking, obviously, but Buffalo kind of got screwed. It's okay, but what Western Michigan does really well is they score points. Now you're thinking, they give up points as well. The defense sucks, guys. Kent State can't move the ball on anybody. They can't. Now, they did it against Eastern Michigan and Ball State, but that's Ball State and Eastern Michigan. They couldn't move the ball against Bowling Green, who has a decent defense, but Kent State will be able to score. The thing is, Kent State's going to be able to score. Guys, let's put a cap on how many points Kent State's going to be able to score. 17. 17 is the max Kent State scores, which is a lot for them. So shout out the Golden Flashes. But they got to go on the road to Michigan. They got to go to Kalamazoo. 17 is the max they put up, okay? that means Western Michigan needs to score 5 touchdowns. Western Michigan hasn't scored 5 touchdowns. They've scored 5 touchdowns in every single game they played in the MAC this season. So, yeah, Kent State can score 17, which would be great output for them. It would be phenomenal for Kent State if they could score 17 points on the road. That'd be crazy. Unheard of. In Kalamazoo, unheard of. But Western Michigan, I mean, look at their point totals this year. 34, but that's a push against Akron. That would be a push against Kent State. 45 against Ball State, 48 against our guys in Buffalo. Again, I like Buffalo a lot, but hell, Western Michigan was able to put up points against Buffalo, 48 of them. Now, I've never said Buffalo's defense is the reason why I picked them, but still, I like Western Michigan to absolutely dominate Kent State. I really like Tommy Ulatowski. It was ridiculous he was not the starter this season to start the year. He was a 2-year starter at Kent State, and they benched him this year for Devin Cargman, who I don't think is horrible either, but Ulatowski's definitely better. Christian McCray, he's a dog. He is a dog. And their run game it's just Kai Thomas. Kai Thomas, their only back. Give me Western Michigan to cover the 17 points. Again, Kent State scored 17 points. Western Michigan needs to score 5 touchdowns. I'm so confident that Western Michigan can do that. Let's go on to our next one here. UTSA takes on Tulsa. It's just the battle of just teams in the American. These are bottom of the barrel American squads. Give me Tulsa to cover the points. The game's in Oklahoma. That's why they will cover 8. UTSA is not 8 points better than Tulsa, and they're not 8 points better than Tulsa on the road. I get it. They beat FAU. Again, here comes the boom. They beat them by 14 points. But UTSA before that lost by 2 against Rice. They lost by 10 against East Carolina. Give me Tulsa just to stay in the football game, okay? Again, Tulsa's offense is so lacking. It's absolutely horrible. Their quarterback is Kirk Francis, and he really doesn't do anything all that well. Their running game is actually really atrocious as well. I'm kind of talking myself out of picking Tulsa, but here I will talk myself back into picking Tulsa. It's because UTSA's defense is actually not that great, and they're so one-dimensional on offense. Owen McCown's good. I'll give him that. Owen McCown's a good quarterback. He will sling it, and he'll throw the ball all day long. Their defense isn't great. Tulsa should be able to score some points, and Tulsa should just be able to hang in this game. So give me the Golden Hurricane to cover the 8 points. They're at home. They're not, they might be 8 points worse than UTSA, but they're at home. So give me the Golden Hurricane. We're taking Tulsa. Next up, we go to a former Pac-12 game, Oregon State and California. Why the hell is Cal getting 10 points? So again, we mark Texas Tech and Baylor as a what the hell is this line game. Oregon State versus Cal is a what are we doing type spread. Like, this is, no. Cal has not won a football game since week 3. They beat San Diego State, who sucks, and they beat Auburn, who also sucks. No, it was a good win. I'm not gonna lie. Beating Auburn's a good win. But those are their wins. They lost to FSU. Florida State has that one in their record, that one win they have. It's Cal. They lost to Pitt in a game that they should have won. They should have beat Miami, and they should have actually beat NC State. They should have won all 3 of those games, regardless of that fact. If Cal's kicker's horrible, dog. Arizona State's coach wants to talk about they're having open tryouts. No, California needs open tryouts. I know guys in the area that could go kick for Cal. Like, I'm going to go recommend them to Berkeley. I'm going to drive to Berkeley, and I'm going to recommend them kickers because there's kickers that they can have. Cal has lost 3 games this year because their kicker. I'm not even joking. NC State, Pitt, Florida State. They lost all 3 of those games because their kicker missed big kicks at the end of the game. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. They have nobody who can kick. They have so many smart people at Cal, and they can't put that together. Actually, I don't know how smart they really are at Cal, I'll be honest with you guys. Oregon State's covering the 10 points. That's way too many. I get it. Oregon State's lost back-to-back games, but they still put up points in back-to-back games. Guys, UNLV would beat Cal right now. I mean, they had the lead against UNLV at halftime. They lost the game by 8 points, but it's fine. Nevada, they lost on the road by 5. Okay, it's fine. They still put up 37 points. They beat a really good Colorado State team. They beat Purdue. They beat up on San Diego State worse than what Cal did. Oregon State's the better football team, guys. I don't mind Oregon State to outright win it. I think it's a little tough considering their quarterback play is really lacking. Giovanni McCoy just isn't great. Let's just be honest with ourselves. He throws a lot of picks, but they're two-headed monster at back with McCoy, Hangerson, and I can't forget about Jam Griffin as well. Like, they run the ball really effectively, and they should be fine in this one. Cal's not going to get away from Oregon by double digits. It's just not going to happen. Oregon State's too good for that to happen. So give me the Beavs to cover the 10 as we go on to our next one. In the Mountain West, we've got Colorado State taking on New Mexico. Again, you know, every week we pick Devin Dampier. Devin Dampier, I've been calling for New Mexico's turnaround all season long, guys. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Going into the Montana State game, I didn't know much about New Mexico. I'll be completely honest with you. I was not an expert in New Mexico football. I am now. I watched them play Arizona. They can't tackle. New Mexico has the worst defense in college football. They just do. They literally cannot tackle. Like, look at the point totals that New Mexico's given up this season. All right, 35 against Montana State, 61 against Arizona, 45 against Auburn, 38 against Fresno State, which is surprising. I thought it would be more. 40 against New Mexico State, 37 against the Air Force, and 45 against Utah State. They don't know how to tackle. They just don't. But you know what they do know how to do? They can throw the ball, they can run the ball with their quarterback, and they push the ball down the field. Shout out my guy, Devin Dampier. He's been balling all year, guys. Yeah, he throws some picks, but it's fine. Devin Dampier, he's fun to watch. He's a very fun quarterback to watch in the Mountain West. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in the Mountain West, but Devin Dampier is a fun one to watch. You know, people like Hajj Malik Williams. Devin Dampier does a lot of the things Hajj Malik Williams does. He just throws more picks than Hajj Malik Williams. But shout out Colorado State. This is a good team too. I was surprised the way Colorado State was able to bounce back this season. I thought they were just kind of cooked after that Colorado game. Just because, yeah, they played them a lot more competitively last year at Boulder. They get blown out. Shedeur Sanders, talks his shit at the end of the game to Fowler Nicolosi. It is what it is. They've bounced back and they've beat San Jose State, which is a really good win. I will not understate how big of a win that is for Colorado State to beat San Jose State. Air Force, it is what it is. But Colorado State's playing good football right now. The thing is, they are without their star receiver. Torrey Horton's out for the year, I do believe. That hurts them a lot. I think New Mexico stays in this football game. Guys, New Mexico's going to win this football game. I don't care. They're on the road. Be prepared for a shootout. Whatever the over is, take it. Take it. Because New Mexico has scored 100 points. That's a Baker Mayfield quote. But they've scored 50 in 3 straight games. That's what they do. Arizona's defense is improving. They scored 39 against Arizona. Yeah, they can't tackle. So yes, Colorado State's going to have a field day on offense too. But New Mexico has been well equipped to win these shootouts, and they're going to do it again. Give me New Mexico to go on the road and beat Colorado State. Big upset pick. I don't feel as confident in this one than I do with Oregon State covering 10 and Texas Tech covering 7. But no, I like New Mexico to win this game. I like them to cover. I would not bet on them to straight win unless you got some money to spend, because there's a chance they just give up 50 points and they score 45 but lose. Actually, that was their score last week. They won, but I definitely like them to cover. I don't think Colorado State's 7 points better than them, especially without Horton, right? I like New Mexico to cover that game. Next up, we go to another game, which really confuses me, guys. On this board right here, there are 3 games that are so confusing. Texas Tech will cover 7 against TCU. Oregon State will cover 10 against Cal. And ULM is going to easily cover 7.5 against South Alabama. Why are they 7.5 point dogs? Why? Guys, ULM might be the best team in the Sun Belt right now. Louisiana, but still. They might be one of the best teams in this conference right now. Why the hell are they 7.5 point dogs? I don't give a damn. Oh, yeah, their passing game sucks. Sure, Aiden Armetta and General Booty are not great. Yes, General Booty is a backup quarterback. It's Ahmad Hardy who really carries the load, but it's the defense that UL Monroe plays. They've got a really solid defense. South Alabama's not going to be able to score the ball on this team. Guys, South Alabama put up 25 points against Troy last week, and 16 in a loss against Arkansas State, 10 against LSU. Sure, they put up 48 against App State and 87 against Northwestern State, but guys, watching this team week by week, they are not the same team that put up 48 on the road against App State. And don't get me wrong, I've been a huge South Alabama guy all this year. I've been picking the South Alabama a lot. This line is just absolutely atrocious. I like UL Monroe to go out here and win this game outright. Don't get me wrong. Gio Lopez playing great football for South Alabama. UL Monroe's the better football team. They just are. UL Monroe plays better defense. They're going to be able to contain South Alabama, and UL Monroe's just going to be able to do just enough in terms of running the football. They play gritty football, which means they suck at offense, but they play gritty football, like the Pittsburgh Steelers sometimes. But not anymore with Russ, though. Hey, shout Russ. But they play gritty football, and they win football games, right? They win football games with their defense. Their only loss this year, guys, is Texas. Texas. If UL Monroe scheduled a horrid non-conference, which they kind of did because they got UAB and Jackson State. But if they just said, you know what, we're going to play UTSA instead of Texas, they would seriously be in playoff talk. But they lost 51-3 in Arch Manning's first start, and now, they're getting 7.5 points on the road against South Alabama. Absolutely hammer UL Monroe. Again, this game, mispriced. Oregon State Cal, mispriced. Texas Tech TCU, mispriced. I have spent too much time on this board. I mean, we are an hour and 13 minutes into this video, and we probably got another hour to go. I appreciate you guys if you're watching this video. I truly do. I have a blast making these every single week, and I have a blast showing you my clips, my highlights from watching Akron and Indiana last year in Bloomington, Indiana, because legitimately 2 people have ever seen that video. It was the 2 people in the video. Regardless, we go on to our next one. West Virginia, by the way, the pick is ULM plus 7.5. You didn't know. West Virginia takes on Arizona. Give me Arizona. Yeah, give me the Wildcats. Give me the Cats. Now, they've been absolutely atrocious. And we have picked Arizona. Obviously, we never picked against Colorado. We will continue to never pick against Colorado. And we're going to keep winning money with Colorado. Plus 500 dogs against UCF. Dogs last week on the road at Arizona. I will continue to pick the Buffs every single damn week until Shedeur Sanders is in the NFL. Actually, as long as Deion Sanders is the coach of Colorado, we're picking Colorado every single week. I don't give a damn. Unless they're completely outmatched. They maybe will be at some point in time. This year, though, hell no. Regardless. By the way, guys, Colorado still has an outside chance of making the college football playoffs. I just want to put it out there. Is it likely? No. But do they have a chance? There is a path. We will get to Colorado later. Arizona and West Virginia. West Virginia just doesn't impress me in the slightest. They simply don't. Simply put, Garrett Green does not move me. That offense is not good. I am not impressed by anything West Virginia does. Arizona, don't get me wrong, I'm not impressed with anything this team does either. Noah Fifita had a tremendous year last season, and he's been absolutely awful this year. It's weird. All of a sudden, he just can't see over his line. He makes horrible reads. It is what it is. He's got 1,700 yards, which is great, but he's got more picks than touchdowns, and he's throwing to the best receiver in college football, not named Nick Nash. Trey Harris, too, but shout out my guy. Shout out my guy, Nick Nash at San Jose State. Obviously, McMillan's going to be a top 10 pick in the draft. He's great. McMillan's great. And that's why Arizona's going to win this football game. West Virginia, I don't think they're going to be able to contain him. They don't have anybody that's going to shut down McMillan in this game. I don't think. Just like the West Virginia defense does not impress me. K-State put up 45 against him. Iowa State put up 28. Pitt put up 38. Eli Holstein had a day against this West Virginia defense. Again, Fifita himself's going to keep this game close because, he's going to close his eyes and throw a pick. But Arizona should win. They're at home, too. Again, this is a huge travel for West Virginia, right? Going all the way from Morgantown to Tucson, Arizona. That's rough. Arizona's 3-point favorites. We just need them to win the football game, honestly, and they should cover. They should be able to find their way to a cover after. Give me the Wildcats to win the game and cover. Yeah, do I feel great about it? No, but give me Arizona. Next up, we've got 2 ACC squads here. Miami taking on Florida State. Florida State sucks. DJU's out. They need to make the move to Luke Kromek. I believe he's a freshman. He was a highly recruited guy. Yeah, he's a true freshman. I don't know if they want to burn his redshirt year. It's going to be Brock Glenn, I think. But I think Luke, low-key, gives them a better chance to win football games. I understand he's 18 years old, but hell, Isaac Wilson's doing it for Utah, so why can't Luke? DJU, I think, is out for the season. Will he come back next year? I don't know. He'll apply for medical redshirt. Maybe he'll come back. Or maybe you'll see him finally working 8 to 5. A 9 to 5. Obviously, I don't even know the saying because I don't even work a 9 to 5 myself. Regardless, Miami's so much better than Florida State, guys. Duke just played down to Florida State last week. Duke should have beat the brakes off that team. They just played horribly. Duke is so much better than FSU. Miami's defense sucks because they've given up 45 to Louisville, 38 to Cal, 34 against VTech. This is the week the defense comes back. This is the week we see, that's the Miami that beat Florida in week 1 in the swamp, right? This game's back in the swamp. Florida versus Florida. Miami's going to be pumped up to win this football game. When they have played Florida teams this year, guys, weird stat, but when Miami has played teams from Florida, they have absolutely destroyed them this season. 41-17 against Florida, 56-9 against Florida A&M, 50-15 against the Southern Florida Bulls. Okay, they dominate Florida State. Shout out Cam Ward. He is a Heisman candidate. He's not going to win it because Ashton Genty, but Cam Ward is balling this season. He's already got 2,500 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 5 picks. He's a monster. I say it every week. Xavier Estrepo has some of the best hands in college football. Miami dominates Florida State, and it's not close. Here comes my guys, the Utah Utes. And yes, I'm making Utah my guys now. Okay, I'm cheering for Isaac Wilson every single week. Okay, Cam Rising is 26 years old. He's gonna come back to Utah next season. He is. Isaac Wilson, he's just like his brother, guys. The play calling is killing him. The play calling is absolutely awful. Utah is the most predictable offense ever, and it's not Isaac Wilson's fault. It's because they go, oh, all right, we have a true freshman who has a cannon. Sometimes does he make the best decisions with the football? No, but this is what we do with him. All right, just by watching Utah, I'm going to break down how Utah play calls. All right, guys, first down, run. This is like what Zach Wilson had to deal with in the New York Jets. Okay, first down, run. Okay, give Micah Bernard the football. Usually works. Last week, couldn't run the ball against TCU. That's fine, because, guys, they're going to run all over Houston. But still, for the sake of my argument, let's talk about how they call their offense. All right, first down, run. Okay, get 2 yards, 3 yards. We run it again. The only way we don't throw it, the only way we don't run it on second down is if we get 1 yard or less, which happened a lot against TCU. So they're kind of forced to throw the ball in 2nd and 9. But hey, say we get 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7. We run the ball again. Great. Micah Bernard gets 3 more yards. 3rd and 4. Now, automatically we throw. We don't play it like, oh, we have 4 downs. No, we're throwing on 3rd and 4. We don't capitalize at all off of us pounding the rock with Micah Bernard. No, we're just going to let Isaac Wilson just drop back and throw. The line is horrible. He's got no time to throw the football. If you watch that game, the Utah game, he hits, oh my God, what's his name? He hits Money Parks on a deep ball. It's tremendous football. It shows that's Zach Wilson, BYU Pro Day type level of arm talent. He hits Money Parks in stride, hits him 50 yards downfield. It's the only touchdown Utah scores the entire game, but still, it's fine, right? Like, Isaac Wilson's got the talent. But how did that happen? Because they went play action. No, they went play action. When I was watching, I was like, oh, Isaac Wilson just messed up the play action fake. No, Micah Bernard, great football player, picks up the blitz from the blind side, blocks that end, lets Isaac Wilson step up in the pocket. He's got great pocket awareness. I just want to see him run the football a little bit more. I just want to see him take off more rather than try to make a crazy throw on 3rd down. Just take off and take your yards. Isaac Wilson steps up in the pocket, hits Money Parks downfield for a 80-yard touchdown, give or take, 70-yard touchdown. Phenomenal. Okay, they need to open up their offense more, and they need to let Isaac Wilson run play action because that will kill teams. Micah Bernard had by far his worst week last week. It was the first game he hadn't eclipsed the 90-yard mark. They will run all over Houston. Houston is awful. Their offense, awful. Their defense, awful. Houston's so bad. Don't ask me how they beat TCU because I don't understand it. So give me Utah to win. They're 3-point favorites. They will go on the road and beat the crap out of Houston. Cam Rising's done for the year. It's time to fully buy into Isaac Wilson, and it's time to finally write an offense around Isaac Wilson as well. Give me the Utes. All right, next up, Utah State takes on Wyoming. Give me Utah State, okay? They're just better. They put up points. They can't really stop anybody on defense, but Wyoming, they're not an offensive powerhouse. There's not. Their quarterback hasn't thrown for more than 200 yards in a game so far this season. Both these teams suck. They're both bottom of the barrel in the Mountain West. I mean, these two teams are horrible in the Mountain West. San Diego State's horrible, even though they're 2-0. Actually, no, they're not horrible. They're 2-0 in the Mountain West now. Air Force sucks. Hawaii sucks. Nevada sucks. Utah State sucks. Wyoming sucks. It's a lot of sucks. But Utah State, though, no, Utah State's much better than Wyoming. They put up points, guys. Watch that New Mexico game. Again, I rave every single week about Devin Dampier. I do. But what Utah State's been able to do, they've just been able to stay competitive in a lot of football games. Sure, they've lost them, but guys, week 1, all right, they beat Robert Morris. They lose to USC. They bench Bryson Barnes. Okay, they lose to Utah, lose by 17. Lose to Temple, all right, but then they put up 30 points. I know they still lost by 32, but they put up 30 points against Boise. They put up 34 and lose by 16 to UNLV. Those are the two favorites in the Mountain West. And they lose by 5 points to New Mexico, which is a good football team. Wyoming just doesn't have the offensive output. They can't score. Utah State just outbattles them. They outscore them. Yes, I'm keeping this one a little bit short because we are already an hour and 20 minutes into this video, and we still have a whole nother slate and 13 feature games to go through. I'm sorry if I didn't give it the most extensive pick on this one, but Utah State's going to beat Wyoming on the road in Laramie. Next up, we go to Troy and Arkansas State. I do not trust Troy at all. This team has lost 3 in a row, and their only win this season is over an FCS school in Florida A&M. The same team played Miami. Arkansas State has been very off and on, but what I can say out of Arkansas State is that they score points. Okay? Now, they didn't do that against Texas State, so make it make sense how Texas State lost last week. Again, I don't know how that happens. Jalen Raynor is not bad. Corey Rucker is a good receiver for this team as well. Troy hasn't won a game this year over an FBS school. Week 1, they kept tight with Nevada, which Made no sense, but it's fine. Oh, they only lose by 21 to Memphis. They only lose by 17 to Iowa. They can't win football games. They can't do it. Arkansas State's only getting 7, and the game's in Arkansas. Yeah, give me the Red Wolves all day long. We are riding with Arkansas State. 7 points in Jonesboro, Arkansas. What do you know about Jonesboro, Arkansas? Because I don't know a damn thing about Jonesboro, Arkansas. I was gonna look up the population of Jonesboro, Arkansas, but I was like, video's long enough. But no, I'm gonna check it. 79,000 people live in Jonesboro, Arkansas. That place is gonna be turnt this week. The Arkansas State. All right, we've got more games. We've got 5 more. Sorry, 6 if I can do math. We've got 6 more, and then we can do our features. We start with Auburn taking on Kentucky. Give me Brock Vandergriff and the Wildcats at home. Auburn is just atrocious at football. Kentucky has shown signs. Like, yeah, are they great? No, but they have shown signs. Auburn, they have shown signs with Peyton Thorne. They have. And they had that game against Mizzou. They just blew it. It was so funny. As someone who had Mizzou minus 3.5, it was hilarious how Brady Cook just came back and won that football game for Missouri. Because Auburn had it, and they just choked it away. It was hilarious. You go from that high. Auburn's they've been good enough to lose every single week this season, right? They lose to Cal, 21-14 at home. Lose to Arkansas by 10. Lose to Oklahoma by 6. Lose to Georgia by 18. Lose to Mizzou by 4. They've been good enough just to lose all year long. Now this is where Auburn's season goes from here. Well, no, it's not here. It's here. But it goes from here all the way down to boom. They suck. No, they don't suck. Well, they kind of do. They're going to start really sucking, though. Kentucky's going to absolutely handle this team. In Lexington, Kentucky, give me Brock Vandergriff and the guys. And now, again, does this Kentucky offense do anything overly impressive? No. Dane Key's their only real bright spot. I completely understand that. But they're just better than Auburn. They play better defense than Auburn. Auburn probably won't be able to score at all in this football game. And you saw how easily Brady Cook was able to weave through this defense. I get it. Kentucky's not the same team. But give me the Wildcats to cover the 2.5 at home. Next up, we have got Kansas and K-State. The Battle of Kansas. K-State's just the much better football team. Now, K-State's going to get checked eventually. It's going to happen soon. Actually, no, they don't. No, actually, Kansas State might not get checked until the last week of the season. I'll be completely honest with you. They might not lose a game until Iowa State, but when they go to Iowa, they're going to lose. K-State's not as good as people think they are. They got out that game in Boulder, which, again, I think is a good win for them. Colorado kind of let that game slip away at the very end. It is what it is. There was a no call in the pass interference on 4th down. Colorado should have had a chance, but it's okay. K-State's going to lose eventually. Again, they looked awful in the BYU game. I get it. BYU's a lot better than what we thought they were at the time when they played Kansas State. And they beat up on WVU last week. Well, again, going to Morgantown's not a tough task anymore. Kansas, they had one good game. They finally won when they beat Houston. Again, Houston sucks. How they beat TCU, again, I still don't understand. I sit here and just try to figure out how Houston beat TCU but then looked horrible against Kansas, probably because they're Houston. Jalen Daniels, again, has regressed heavily this season, which is real unfortunate for the Jayhawks. Really unfortunate. Devin Neal has been a premier back, which good for him. But they're just not going to be able to keep up. This game's at Kansas State again. I get it. Rivalry game. But Kansas State's just better than the Jayhawks this season. They are the better team. Avery Johnson, I'm not sold on yet, personally. I'm not sold on Avery Johnson. He's been playing well. I think it's more just based off their run game with DJ Giddens, and Giddens has been playing phenomenally this year. I'm still not sold on K-State. I don't know if I'm going to be after this game, but I do think they beat the Jayhawks, and they cover by 10 points. Next up, we go to San Jose State and Fresno State. And yeah, you might be thinking, oh, what is Southern Miss and Arkansas State doing here? Guys, I don't know either. I'm going to fire my editor. I am. I'm going to fire my editor for putting that on the graphic. I'm the editor. I genuinely don't know. I honest to God don't know what I was thinking. I don't even know where I got that from. I'll be honest with you. I think I was looking at Arkansas State Troy and I accidentally repeated it, but then I put Southern Miss in there. But Southern Miss already played today, or we were talking about Southern Miss. Yeah, guys, I don't know what I was thinking. Regardless, Fresno State, San Jose State. I might go to this game. It's in Fresno. Again, Fresno State has the best college football environment in the state of California. I will stand by that. I think 4.5 is too much. Who wins the football game? I don't know. I think it's a close game. Obviously, it's a rivalry game. Of course, you got the Valley versus the Bay here, right? It's going to be a close game. I think San Jose State covers the 4.5. I don't understand, guys, why Emmett Brown's not starting for San Jose State. I genuinely don't know. Maybe I'll walk onto campus tomorrow and just ask. Maybe I'll try to find. We'll do a little campus survey and ask everyone why Emmett Brown's not starting for the San Jose State Spartans anymore at San Jose State. Actually, wait. Nobody at that school gives a flying. Can't say that word right now. No one gives a damn about football at that school. Most people are just there to party on Thursday and Friday and Saturday nights in downtown San Jose and hit up LaVix at 3 o'clock in the morning. Or Jack in the Box if you don't like Mexican food, I guess. I don't know why Emmett Brown's not starting anymore. I don't understand it. I don't. Why is Walker Agette getting the start? Guys, we'll compare stats, and I get it. Okay, eye test or whatnot. But no, Emmett Brown is so much better than Walker Agette. 1,500 yards for Emmett Brown. 16 touchdowns, 4 picks. Walker Agette, same completion rate. 1 touchdown, 3 picks, 715 yards. Why? Why did Emmett Brown get benched? I mean, someone's got to throw Nick Nash the ball. Well, yeah, Emmett Brown's been doing just that. He's been doing very fine in that. I don't understand it. Now, again, Fresno State and San Jose State have been 2 teams I always pick. Like, these are my teams, not because I live relatively close to both these schools and I like both these schools. But I usually tend to pick Fresno State and San Jose State a lot. Mikey Keene, guys, has been kind of underwhelming this season. Now, Fresno State was a huge pick for us last week. I told everyone that they were going to beat Nevada, and obviously they did. They went to Reno and that didn't handle them, but they won. Now, Nevada, we're going to get to this in a second here. They have a game which I don't know what's going to happen because of their quarterback situation. But Fresno State went in there and won. But Mikey Keene's been really underwhelming this season. Sure, he has excelled when they needed him to, but Mikey Keene hasn't been a standout like he has been last year. I think San Jose State's better. I get it. Walker Agette's probably going to start at quarterback. Again, if they start Emmett Brown, they're going to be a lot better. But regardless, I think San Jose State actually goes on the road and beats Fresno State here. They're the better football team. It's a fun game, honestly, but I do think San Jose State has the better offense. It's going to be a shootout, but San Jose State's going to be able to put up points. I don't know if Fresno State's able to match that. Fresno State has been boat raced a couple times this season. I think San Jose State will do that to them this week. Next up, we go to San Diego State versus Washington State. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Washington State absolutely dominates San Diego State. As I say that, I get into an in-depth breakdown here. But Washington State, I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. Washington State is in a position where they might make the playoffs. Technically, they are a Power 5 team. Technically, because they're in the Pac-12. They're not losing to anybody the rest of the season. They will not lose a game. Boise State, I think, we'll get to their game later, but if Boise State can beat UNLV, they will win They will win the Mountain West. Washington State's only loss is Boise State. Everything has kind of fallen their way because they need certain teams to lose. So, then we can just slide a one-loss Washington State team in. But if everything goes their way and Washington State wins out, they will be in the playoffs. San Diego State sucks. I don't care. They've won back-to-back games, both by a score of 27-24 over Hawaii and Wyoming. Don't give a damn. Those 2 teams suck. Washington State doesn't suck. John Mateer's a dog, and Washington State's going to blow the brakes off of San Diego State. Who needs to run the ball when you have John Mateer? Who needs to run the ball with a running back when you have John Mateer, who can literally do anything? Give me Washington State to dominate. They're going to win the game by 28 points. Don't care. The game's in San Diego. They have no home field advantage, and San Diego State's just not good this season. Final game of the week, Nevada. Before we get into the features, Nevada and Hawaii. Give me Nevada to win. They're going to cover the 2.5. This line wouldn't be that close if there wasn't, speculation about who's starting at quarterback this week. Now, if Brendan Lewis is healthy, obviously he's starting. He's by far the best quarterback on the Nevada Wolfpack roster. Chuba Purdy might get the start this week. And yes, that is Brock Purdy's younger brother, who is like a year younger than him and still in college. And yes, Brock Purdy played in college for 5 seasons. Chuba Purdy's not good. There's a reason he's bounced around a million teams and he's a backup at Nevada. The reason he couldn't start at San Jose State. Again, there's a reason for all of that. Chuba Purdy, just, it is what it is. He's obviously not better than Brendan Lewis. If Chuba Purdy starts this game, I still think they win. I'm not going to lie. I think Nevada's got too much talent not to win this game with Savion Red at running back. But the difference is, again, and then you lose Brendan Lewis's elusiveness at the quarterback position. You lose the running threat out of the quarterback and Brendan Lewis if Chuba Purdy is starting. And that's what, again, dictates this game, I think. Now, at the same time, Hawaii's not good, but what we can kind of, look at Hawaii with, because they can't run the ball. Landon Sims is their leading rusher with 177 yards in the season. It's all Braden Schrager and that passing game. Nevada has to go to Hawaii, which is always rough. You got to go to Hawaii. You got to fly across the Pacific Ocean and play this football team. It's difficult. I understand it. but I think Nevada's able to get it done. Again, I think, they're much better if Lewis plays, but even if Chuba Purdy plays, I think Nevada is just the better football team. Hawaii just kind of sucks this year. I don't think Hawaii's great at all. We've been fading we've been fading Hawaii since week 1 or week 0 when we picked Delaware State to cover against them. I know I picked Hawaii once, but it's fine. Who did I pick them again? Oh, I know. I think I picked them to beat San Diego State, didn't I? I did. I picked them to cover against Sam Houston. There's only 2 times I've ever picked them this season. Regardless of that, guys, give me Nevada not to run right through Hawaii. This could be a close game because they have to travel, but it'll be a 7-point victory that Nevada wins. But even if they win by 3, they cover for us. Give me Nevada to win, and let's now move on to the feature games. Okay, so we start things off here with Syracuse versus Pittsburgh. Now, if you've been watching every single week, which you should, and you should hit that subscribe button down below for more if you haven't been, you should join us every single week. But we've been picking Pitt every single week here, guys. Like, I've been high on Pittsburgh. And now, have they not covered recently? They just did against Cal. All right, Cal's one game they didn't cover. They were 2.5-point favorites. They only won the game by 2 points. But if you took them the money line, which I didn't say to, but maybe you should. I don't know. Again, they should have covered, but it's fine. They still won the football game. And all that matters is that Pittsburgh is now 6-0, and they have a very doable schedule down the stretch here, guys. I've been hyping up my teams this season. Pittsburgh, Indiana, Buffalo hasn't really been doing it for us, but those are my squads I've been saying all year. Watch out for these teams, and look where they're at. Pitt has a chance to make the playoffs. Indiana will likely be in the playoffs, regardless of what happens, as long as they can win out, and whatever happens to the Ohio State game, if they win, if they lose, they'll probably be in the playoffs. Pitt's in a really good spot too. Now, Pitt doesn't have the luxury Indiana does because they're non-conference, and their non-big games in the ACC aren't that impressive, and they've been barely winning football games, but Pitt's been winning, right? Eli Holstein, I'll say it again, your top 3 Heisman guys are undoubtedly, of course, in order: Genty, Ward, Travis Hunter. Hunter's now 3rd because of the injury, and I've had Hunter at 3rd for a while. But 4 is Curtis Rourke, who's slowly making his way up and should be in consideration. 5 guys is Eli Holstein. I think it is. I think Eli Holstein is the 5th best guy right now to win the Heisman Trophy, just because of what he's doing as a young player at Pittsburgh, and he's undefeated. He's 6-0, and they're going to be 7-0. They get a primetime spot here on Thursday night. Big time game at Acrisure Stadium. It's Heinz Field. It'll always be Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. And they're going to beat the Syracuse Orange. I get it. And again, I picked Syracuse a lot, and I still don't know how they lost to Stanford. But Kyle McCord has put up the lowest passing total Kyle McCord's put up all season long is 339 and lost to Stanford. Other than that, he's put up 350 every single week. It's insane. Now, it does benefit when you throw the ball 60 times a game like Kyle McCord does do, but that's what Syracuse is. They're a pass-heavy offense. It is the best move Kyle McCord could have made for his career. No longer see he was the guy that was holding Marvin Harrison back, which was he? I don't know. But he's an effective thrower of the football now. And if he does move on from Syracuse, which I don't think he should, this is his team and his program now, he's going to be a very effective guy down the line here for Syracuse, right? He's a junior, right? Or is Kyle McCord a senior? I think he's a junior. Oh, he's a senior. Oh, I thought Kyle McCord was a junior. Regardless, maybe he applies for some red shirt, because you can always apply for one nowadays. Regardless of that, Kyle McCord's done a great job for Syracuse. However, Pittsburgh excels winning shootouts. Now, last week was not a shootout against Carolina, but they've excelled in back-and-forth games. They've dealt with adversity, and they have won at Cincinnati, in the backyard brawl and a victory against West Virginia, at UNC. I get it, North Carolina's not that great, but guys, Pittsburgh on a Thursday night, they've got all the hype around them. They're 6-0. They will win this football game, and now they have a huge matchup next week against SMU, who is ranked. If they can beat SMU, then beat Virginia like they should, they will get game day. They've got to get game day November 16th against Clemson. What a ball game that would be. Two undefeated teams in the ACC. Winner goes to the playoffs undoubtedly. Okay, but for now, give me Pitt to beat Syracuse. I love what Eli Holstein's done. You want to talk about Heisman hopefuls? Desmond Reed. Actually, Desmond Reed doesn't have a Heisman resume, but I want to understate how important Desmond Reed is to this team. He doesn't have the stats to win the Heisman, but 850 all-purpose yards, I would make the case. He's just super important for this Pitt team, and again, what he's been able to do in Rodney Hammond's absence has been great. So shout out to him. Give me Pitt to win the football game. They'll cover the 6 points as well at home. Next up, this is the biggest game of the week, I think, personally, and it's on a Friday night. Boise State versus UNLV, because the winner of this game is going to the postseason, I think. There's a chance one of these two teams get upset down the road, and there's a chance these two teams do play again in the Mountain West Championship game, but it's a crucial game for the postseason, considering, again, one group of 5 team is going to get in, maybe 2. Army, Navy, we're looking at both of you. We'll get to the Naval Academy in a second here. UNLV's playing great. Again, there was a whole, Matthew Sluka leaving the team. It doesn't matter. They're still playing great football with Hodge Malik Williams. Ricky White is getting the ball more than he ever was with the former Holy Cross quarterback in Sluka. And sure, they lose to Syracuse, but it's fine. They've won back-to-back games against Utah State and Oregon State, both on the road. And now they return to Allegiant Stadium in the biggest game of the year for them against Boise State. But again, they're playing Boise State. Guys, Ashton Jeanty with 1,250 yards already this season over 6 games. It's crazy. Is he on pace to break Barry's record? He kind of is, given the Mountain West Championship game and given the bowl games plus playoff, whatever he gets in the postseason. Right now, he's equipped to break Barry's record. And again, Barry did it in 10 games, which is absolutely insane. But regardless, it is remarkable what Ashton Jeanty's doing this season. And again, I'll make the case, Barry Sanders was playing all 4 quarters in all 10 games he played. Ashton Jeanty, in half the games he's played this season, has only played the first half because that's by how many points Boise State has been beating teams by this season. This is going to be a game where Ashton Jeanty's going to have to go the full distance. And that's fine because he's more than equipped to do so. He did that all last season for Boise State. Maddox Madsen has been phenomenal for this team. Again, there's a reason he beat out Malachi Nelson for the starting job, because Maddox Madsen is the guy for this Boise team. But of course, it's the Ashton Jeanty show, and I don't think UNLV is able to stop them. UNLV gives up too many points to my liking. I like UNLV. They have a good offense. They're going to score points on Boise. This is a shootout. But I don't think their defense is able to contain Ashton Jeanty. Because how do you prepare for this guy? He's got remarkable speed. He keeps his legs moving at all times, and he breaks every tackle that anyone throws at him. He's so hard to stop. Again, Oregon State put up 25 points. It's not that bad. 34 from Utah State, 44 against Syracuse. Teams have been able to score against UNLV. Boise's going to be more the same. Give me the Heisman. Yes, he's winning the Heisman. Ashton Jeanty, Maddox Madsen, and the Boise State Broncos to win this football game, cover the 3 points on the road, and Boise State is on their way to the postseason. They still have to go to San Jose. I'm just saying that's a tough game. I think they'll win it, but that's a tough game down the road. Give me Boise State to go on the road to UNLV and take down the Rebels. We go on to Saturday now, and we start things off at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. We've got Navy taking on Notre Dame. I am so tempted to take Navy, guys, but I'm going to hold out on my military school beating Notre Dame prediction until later in November. For now, give me Notre Dame to beat the midshipmen. Simply put, because Notre Dame's defense should be able to hold them. Okay? The best part of this Notre Dame team is their defense, right? I mean, it just is. Their offense still lacks. It could be a lot better, but they win games because of their defense. Their defense puts their offense in positions to win football games. Riley Leonard just has not been impressive. Jeremiah Love's a good back, but Jeremiah Love can't do everything for Notre Dame. Where Notre Dame's going to win this game is going to be with their defense. My thing is, though, obviously with the spread, 13 is just too much, because they're not going to be able to score that many more points than Navy. This game's going to be close, guys. This is going to be a gritty football game that's going to be low scoring, that Notre Dame's going to barely win, which I know is kind of a hot take because Navy puts up so many points, but Notre Dame's defense is just that good. Now, when they play Army later in the year, that's a struggle. That's a struggle. We will get to that again once we get there later in the year, but I don't know. This is a tough game for Navy. And it's a tough game for Notre Dame as well. Again, you want to talk about Heisman hopefuls. Blake Horvath and Bryson Daly should be in that conversation as well. Horvath's having a great year for Navy, and the difference again between these Navy and Army teams than what they have been over the last couple of years is that they throw the ball now, and they throw the ball really effectively. Horvath, again, this is big numbers for Navy, has thrown for over 100 yards in every single game he's played this year. Navy and Army are dominant. I don't think they can beat Notre Dame, even though I think it's close. I'll be honest, guys, I think they lose the game by a field goal. I think they do. It's just Notre Dame's pass defense is good. They should be able to stop this. Again, Navy pass offense, which is improved, but it's still not, high caliber. And, stopping the option's easier than it sounds, but I think Notre Dame has the formula. They play these teams every single year. And I think Marcus Freeman kind of just wills his guys to victory in this one. Give me Notre Dame to win the football game, but give me Navy to cover. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm itching to take Navy to win this football game. I might just throw something on the midshipmen to win it because I think they have a really good chance. But give me Notre Dame to win the game, but give me Navy to cover at East Rutherford in New Jersey. All right, we go on to our next one here. Indiana gets college game day. Insane. For the first time ever, game day heads to Bloomington, Indiana. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Indiana, guys, we'll make the comparison with Indiana and UW. They're this year's Washington. That's literally what Washington was last year. No one really expected Washington to be great. People thought they were going to be good, but not great. Washington got game day for the first time in a while last year against Oregon. Indiana now gets it this year, and I'm pumped. I'm pumped for Bloomington. I really am. I think it's awesome. And Indiana's going to absolutely destroy Washington. The game, we don't even talk about game day. They got big noon kickoff last week. They get game day this week. Guys, this game's not competitive. Where on campus are they doing this, actually? Let me check real quick just for my own amusement. But where are they doing it? They're doing it they're doing the parking lot. Okay, it's not saying where they're doing it. I'll figure that out eventually. I'll click here for more details. Hold on, I got it. Game day map. Let's look at this. I know this isn't very entertaining for you guys because I'm just looking at this myself. But regardless, I'll talk about this game. Oh, South Lawn and more. They're really just doing it out there? Oh, wait, no. Oh, no, they're doing the grass patch. Okay, never mind. They're doing it by the Walnut Grove. Walnut Grove? I forget what it's called. The Briscoe and Walnut dorms out there in Bloomington. Regardless, Indiana is going to smash Washington. They just are. Guys, Washington's coming off a bye week. I get it. They just got blown up by Iowa. Iowa put up 40 points to them. What the hell is Indiana going to do? Indiana plays dominant offense. Curtis Rourke, again, is in the Heisman race. He should be. He's been playing that well this season. Indiana's 7-0 for the first time in program history. They're going to be 8-0. And guys, Indiana is winning the national championship this year. I don't want to hear it. Indiana's winning the entire thing. Again, I don't know what the odds on Indiana to win the entire thing is right now, but you should bet it. Just saying. Go do it. They're beating Ohio State later in the year, and even if they don't, it's fine. They're going to get a home playoff game in the postseason if they don't beat Ohio State. I think they're going to the Big Ten championship game. I think they're winning the Big Ten championship game. I love Indiana. I like what they're able to do on offense. Kurt Signetti has changed this program for the better. Curtis Rourke is balling. Justice Ellison, balling, running the football. Sarrett, Omar Cooper, Miles Price catching the football. They play great defense too. They were able to shut down Nebraska last week to 7 points. Nebraska is not a bad offense, and Indiana shut them down to 7 points. How the hell is Will Rogers in Washington going to be able to move the ball? And this is the most amped up a Bloomington football crowd will ever be. No, they are not playing in Assembly Hall. They're playing in Memorial Stadium, and the crowd is going to be going. Give me the Hoosiers. That was kind of cringe. Give me Indiana. Give me Indiana to cover the 6.5. They're just the much better football team, guys. This is not a competitive football game at all. Indiana by 28 plus. On to our next one here. Not as a competitive. Actually, no. This is probably the same. Probably the same spread on this one. Actually, legitimately, Oregon by 28 points. Sorry, I gave away the pick, but Oregon's playing Illinois. Oregon's the best team in college football right now. Would I take them against every team in college football right now? I'll be honest with you guys. I'd take Georgia over Oregon. I'd take Indiana over Oregon. Those are the only two teams I'd take. Yes, I'm taking Indiana. Until I'm proven wrong, I'm taking Indiana over every other team in college football right now. Seriously. Illinois, they beat Michigan. They did what they needed to do to Michigan. We said that was going to happen last week, obviously, here on the channel, after a horrid defensive performance against the Purdue Boilermakers, where they gave up 49 points but won the game in double overtime 50-49. They beat up on Michigan 21-7, but that's just because Michigan sucks, and we're going to get to Michigan later on in this video. Oregon's just a much better team, guys. They're coming off that Purdue victory where they beat them 35-0. Now they get a Midwest school coming to Eugene. This is a smash play, guys. I don't care. Illinois is ranked 21st. There is a huge discrepancy between Illinois and Oregon. Illinois beats Michigan. That's great. It keeps them in the rankings, but I really don't know if this is a ranked football team, guys. Look at the teams they've beat. Kansas, not good. Nebraska, okay. Lost to Penn State, who I don't think is very good. Beat Purdue by 1 point. Beat Michigan, who sucks. Illinois is not a top 25 team in the country, and Oregon is going to make them look like not a top 25 team in the country. Dylan Gabriel is doing everything that Oregon asks him to do. Jordan James is running the football effectively. Tez Johnson, Evan Stewart, these guys are running the ball really effectively, and Oregon's going to dominate Illinois. Give me the Ducks to roll Illinois at home in Eugene, 21.5. No. It's a 28-point victory for the Oregon Ducks winning this game at home. Next up, we go to the Big 12, Brigham Young versus UCF. Another one of these games, I just kind of look at the spread, and I'm like, really? BYU's only getting 2? All day, give me the Cougs. Give me Brigham Young, guys. They find ways to win football games. That's what Brigham Young does. They find ways to win games. Oklahoma State, again, backs against the wall. What do? They find a way to win the football game at home on a Friday night. On a Friday night, they find ways to win football games. Guys, Brigham Young's undefeated. There's not many undefeated Power 4 teams left in college football, and Brigham Young is one of them. They don't play Iowa State in the regular season. That will likely be the Big 12 championship game. Again, I said Colorado's got an outside shot. I'll go over that in a minute, but they need help. They need BYU to lose one of these games. And obviously, some people think BYU's in trouble this week. I don't think they are. I think, if anything, Iowa State will be in more trouble throughout the rest of the course of the season than what Brigham Young is. And I get it. UCF's getting respect because they played Iowa State close. They lost the game by 3 points. They ran the ball really well, and they're running, RJ Harvey's good. KJ Jefferson's just been kind of mid this season, but RJ Harvey's been really carrying the load for this Knights offense, which is great. But guys, Brigham Young has stopped the run multiple occasions this season. I get it. Ollie Gordon had a great game against BYU last week, but that's Ollie Gordon. Sure, are we putting RJ Harvey in the same conversation as Ollie Gordon? Hell, maybe we should, honestly, but BYU's played a good run offense before, and they're only going to get better against this type of team. KJ Jefferson has not been great since moving over from Arkansas to UCF. I like BYU a lot, guys. This team, again, I know 2 weeks ago I came on here and said, oh, they're going to lose to Arizona, and I'm not sold. No, I'm sold now. I'm sold on the defense this team plays. I'm sold on their quarterback, Jake Retzlaff. I'm sold on BYU. It's a good football team. They're winning the Big 12. I don't know, actually, Iowa State. I don't know. Iowa State was in trouble last week. This is a statement, though, for Brigham Young, right? Iowa State played UCF really tough last week. Now you get a chance to go to UCF and dominate. We'll see if they do that. Again, Colorado went in here and won the game by 27 points. Just saying, guys. I'm just saying. UCF has not won a football game since September, and it was a 1-point victory on September 14th over Texas Christian. The only other wins are New Hampshire, without Max Prosper, and Sam Houston. Why are they 2-point dogs? Why are they 2-point dogs? I don't care they've played competitive games. Lost by 6 to Cincinnati, 11 to Florida, 3 to Iowa State. Why the hell are they only 2-point dogs? Hammer Brigham. Oh, God. Hammer Brigham Young. I'm going to leave. I don't even know if I'm going to leave that in there or not. Completely just choked on saliva. Pause. Give me Brigham Young. Brigham Young covers the 3 points. Yeah, maybe that's. Maybe I'm being told somewhere not to hype up Brigham Young by that much, but we're going to do it. Give me BYU by 2. Okay, let's move on to our next one. SEC. Guys, Missouri-Bama is just a weird game now. It just is. It's a really weird game because you look at what Alabama is, right? They lose to Tennessee last week. They lose in good old Rocky Top. I don't know. Bama's not Bama anymore. Is it Saban? It probably is. It's Saban being gone, right? I mean, Kalen DeBoer, he's trying his hardest, I guess, but Bama's just not the same team anymore. Losing to, they were on the highest of highs, right? They beat Georgia. You're the number 1 ranked team. Then you lose to Vanderbilt, and they barely get by the Gamecocks. And then they lose to Tennessee in Knoxville. Now, where does this put this team? I don't know. The thing is, Mizzou always just plays down to whoever they play. They're never gonna just dominate a team, a good team. All their games this season that they've won against Power 5 schools, Boston College they beat by 6. They beat Vandy by 3 in double overtime, which at the time didn't look good, but now it looks better. And they beat Auburn by 4 points, given, again, a tremendous come from behind victory for Brady Cook and the guys. He got hurt in the first quarter, came back, won it for them in the fourth. Crazy. Seriously, respect to Brady Cook. They need to find ways to get Luther Burden more involved in the offense. This guy's one of the best receivers in college football, and he's not even their leading receiver. It's Theo Weiss, who's good in his own right, but they need to find ways to get Luther Burden III the ball, and they haven't been able to do that. They're going to lose to Alabama. I refuse to believe that Alabama loses back-to-back weeks. I just refuse to believe that that's going to happen. But what will happen, Missouri will cover 13.5 points. That's too much. I don't know if Alabama can beat anybody by 13.5 right now, guys. Again, the South Carolina, when they won, and yeah, they probably should have won the game by 9 and let South Carolina score and them lay in the game, but, they only won the game by 2 points. Georgia, they beat by 7, that's Georgia, but they have not dominantly beat a team since Wisconsin in early September, and we will get to Wisconsin in a minute here, but give me Missouri to cover. I think Bama wins, but even that, I'm not really sold. I don't trust Alabama to win any game. Missouri, what I can trust with Missouri is they're going to be in a close game. I get it, they got blown out against Texas A&M, that's not going to happen again. Not going to happen again. And this Alabama, guys, where they are right now in this point in the season, They ain't blowing out anybody. So give me Missouri to cover, but give me Bama to win. Next up, we stay in the SEC, Vanderbilt and Texas. I got this flipped. Vandy's at home, Texas on the road. That's my fault. I'm taking Vandy to cover. That's why. Again, the game's at Vanderbilt. It's in Nashville. Again, excuse me on the graphic. Usually the home team is on the right and the road team is on the left. That's flipped. I messed that up. Obviously, Texas will win. They're going to bounce back. But Vandy's going to keep this game competitive. Now, okay, you can look at their game. Oh, they only beat Ball State by 10 points. Again, Vanderbilt, if there was ever a game where a team was looking ahead in their schedule, it was that. It was that game. Vanderbilt was looking ahead to Texas. They did not give a single damn about that Ball State game, because why should they? And they did exactly what they were supposed to do against Ball State. They won the football game. They won by 10 points. Right? The week before that, they beat Kentucky by 7. They beat Bama before that by 5. Again, they're winning games. Okay? Again, the Bama win's huge. They lost to Vandy by 3. Lose to Missouri by 3. The Georgia State game, all right, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But guys, 24/7 Sports earlier today posted this. Breaking news, Quinn Ewers will sit out for the rest of the season to prepare for the NFL. I don't think this is true, right? I don't. But the comment section makes up a great point that, yes, the post was deleted right away, but the comment section makes up a great point that if the graphic was made, there's definitely something behind it. Something's happening. Quinn Ewers did not come to today's press conference in Austin this Monday. I don't know. Maybe this is real. I don't know if this is real. If Quinn Ewers actually posted this on his Instagram story, I don't know. It's just a picture of Trump saying fake news. I don't know if that's true or not. Regardless, maybe 24/7 Sports just capping. But something, I think, even if they just had the graphic ready, I think something is to be made of that. Now, I don't think Quinn Ewers is going to leave Texas. I don't think he is. I think he's going to stay the rest of the season. I don't think they're that desperate to move on from him to go to Arch Manning. But I think it's something to note. Should they go to Arch Manning permanently? I've been Quinn Ewers, honestly. I've been his number one supporter, his number one defender all season long. I don't know if I've said it outright on the channel, but just like, I don't think they should go to Arch Manning. Arch Manning's going to have 3 seasons after this. Like, this is Ewers' year. Ewers will be a top 2 rounds pick. I don't know if he's going to be a first round pick, probably second round pick in my opinion, honestly. I think he more slots in as a second round guy. Like, I think Carson Beck's more NFL ready than Quinn Ewers in all fairness. But again, Texas, will they beat Vanderbilt? Yeah, they will, I think. But they're an upset watch this week. They are, because Texas's O-line just got bullied last week against Georgia. Now, I don't think that's, Texas O-line sucks. I think that's more just Georgia's defensive line's absolutely insane. I truly think it's that. But I think Texas, I think they should be concerned a little bit this week. I think Vanderbilt's going to have them in some trouble. I think Texas wins the game, but don't underestimate what Diego Paiva and Vandy's. They're a gritty football team that will stay in football games, and that's why they will cover. They were 14-point dogs a couple weeks ago against Kentucky, and they easily covered, and now they're 18-point dogs against Texas. Texas wins. It was a bad week last week. They'll bounce back. They'll be a playoff team, and they're not going to be the brakes off Vandy, but they're going to win the game by 14 points. So give me Texas to win and not to cover, though, because Vandy will do that. Next up, we go to the Big Ten at Penn State, Wisconsin. Guys, I'm finally cashing in on Penn State being fraudulent. Wisconsin's beating them, okay? You want your huge upset pick of the week? This is it. Wisconsin in Madison beats Penn State this week. They do it. And I have been a huge hater of Wisconsin all year long. I don't know if I've officially been a hater of Penn State this year, but now I am. They are not the 3rd best team in the country, and finally someone beats them. If it's not this week, Ohio State's going to go in there and beat them next week. But, Wisconsin will beat Penn State this week in a close game. Okay? Wisconsin's losses, USC and Bama. Okay, rough games. USC on the road, Bama's Bama. That was before Bama completely fell off a cliff. Sure, is their quarterback play not the greatest? It's not. But their run game, though, obviously Jonathan Taylor's not running the ball anymore. Melvin Gordon's not running the ball anymore. But Tyree Walker has been playing well. And they're able to effectively run the ball. They have backs who should be able to run on Penn State. I am not impressed with the Nittany Lions this season. I am not. Drew Aller throws the ball 40 times a game, which is fine. I trust somewhat in Wisconsin's secondary to limit the damage. Guys, Wisconsin, since losing to USC, has given up a combined 16 points in 3 games. And I get it. They're playing Purdue, Rutgers, and Northwestern. Let's try to forget that. Still, this team's on a roll. They're playing good football. Their defense has been playing excellent football, and they've been able to shut teams down, and their offense has been able to score at the same exact time. Give me the Badgers. I don't trust Penn State. I don't think they're as good as people think they are. I think they're like a top 20 team, but they're not a top 3 team, and they have to go on the road. Give me the Road Dogs. Give me Wisconsin. They definitely cover the 6.5. We are going with the ballsy play, though, as my camera is definitely not focusing. We're going with the ballsy play. Give me the Badgers to straight up win, plus 190 on the line. Give me the Wisconsin Badgers. Next up, LSU and Texas A&M. So obviously this is this is the 72-74 game like 3 years ago. That was like in 8 overtimes. It's not a bad game. I feel like these two teams are overachieving this season. I'm not going to lie to you. We're going with LSU on the road. I think Texas A&M's overachieving just a little bit more. I think LSU's the better football team. A&M's wins, they are only in the position they are because they beat Missouri. But Missouri, as we have seen, has their games where they just play absolutely atrociously, and that was one of their games when they went to Kyle Field and just got obliterated. LSU has been playing the more consistent brand of football and the better brand of football in their win over Arkansas, their win over Ole Miss, UCLA. Yes, they had a close game on the road against the Gamecocks, but still, they have been playing they've been playing the better football. And since, shout out, I'm completely... Since Brian Kelly said that Miller Moss is a better quarterback than Garrett Newsmer has taken that to heart, and he has been dominating. Every single week, Garrett Newsmer throws for 1,000,000 yards, and the same thing's going to happen this week. Guys, Texas A&M, who have they beat? Again, Mizzou, they beat Mississippi State by 10 points. They beat Arkansas by 4. They beat Bowling Green by 6. This team's not that good. They just aren't. I don't think A&M's that good of a football team. They're not the 14th best team in the country. Is LSU the 8th best team? I don't think so either. But still, I think they beat Texas A&M. I think both these teams are kind of fraudulent, but at the same time, who's going to beat LSU the rest of the season? Look at their schedule. Who's beating LSU? They get Bama in Baton Rouge. They go to Florida. They're not going to lose that. They get Vandy at home, maybe. And they get Oklahoma, who they're going to destroy. I don't know, man. LSU... We might be staring down an LSU versus Texas, it'll be LSU versus Georgia. Yeah, where we might be staring down an LSU versus Georgia SEC championship game, and Texas does not get in, and Texas just goes straight to the playoffs. But regardless, then probably LSU, Georgia, and Texas will make the playoffs. I think LSU beats A&M. They're just the better team, and I think A&M has just beat some bad teams to get to where they're at, and they took advantage of just a horrible game Mizzou played, which is not their fault, but they're a little overrated. Same like LSU, but LSU's just better. Give me the Tigers to win, and they will win on the road at Kyle Field. Next up, we go to Michigan versus Michigan State. You got to talk about it just because it is what it is. Michigan is 5-point favorites. They should not be 5-point favorites. Give me the Spartans to go on the road and beat Michigan. Who their starting quarterback is this week, Lord knows. Lord knows who it will be. I think it should be Davis Ward. I think it should be. They're probably going to go to Jack Tuttle again, probably. I think Davis Ward should get the start. Again, this team does nothing well. They run the ball, Khalil Mullings, but they just haven't been good recently, right? I mean, you look at their game against Illinois, they score 7 points. They lose to Washington. I'm done picking Michigan ever. Guys, Michigan might end the season. There's a chance this team doesn't make a bowl game. I'm serious. They might end the year 5-7. If they lose this week, like we think they're going to against Sparty, they're not going to beat Oregon. They're not going to beat Indiana, and they're not going to beat Ohio State. Sure, they'll beat Northwestern. This isn't a bowl team, guys. They are playing for their bowl lives this week in this Michigan State game. They are, because they're not beating Oregon at home. They're not going to Bloomington and winning, and they're not going to Columbus and winning in the big game. They have to get this one. I don't think they do, though. Michigan State, guys, was really impressive last week, and I'm willing to say that, okay, we're gonna pretend like we didn't see the Boston College game. We're gonna pretend like we didn't see it. Ohio State, great team. Oregon, great team. The two best teams, not named Indiana, in the Big Ten. And they bounce back and beat Iowa, which I did not expect to happen. If Aiden Childs is on and he doesn't turn the ball over, Michigan State's a good football team, and that's what we are expecting to happen this week, okay? Give me Michigan State. Give me the Spartans. Shout out to the true freshman Wyatt Hook. He'll be dressing out for his first game this week. A big recruit that Michigan State got, flipped from Oregon State in the offseason. But give me Michigan State to win in the big house. They're the better team. Aiden Childs, as long as he holds onto the football, they will win. Give me the Michigan State Spartans to beat Michigan. Keep your damn points. Keep them. Michigan is so one-dimensional, they can't throw the ball. Whoever's playing quarterback, again, it should be Davis Warren, but if Davis Warren's playing quarterback, he's going to turn the ball over 2 times this game. So, regardless, you just got to shut down Mullings, got to shut down Donovan Edwards, and it's a shame Colston Loveland is not a prominent part of this offense, but the problem is, no one can get him the ball. Give me Michigan State to win on the road. Next up, we go on to the ACC, SMU, and Duke. I'm not going to spend too much time on this game just because... Well, actually, because I think it's kind of obvious SMU's going to win the football game. I think they cover 2. Guys, Duke just played horrible football last week, and it's time we take advantage of it. I've been picking Duke a lot, but now this is the time we just flip it on them here. The game is in Durham. It is in Durham, North Carolina, which is great, but SMU is just the better football team. SMU is going to boat race Duke this game. They've got the better offense. Guys, Kevin Jennings has been playing phenomenally for this team. Brashard Smith has been running the ball very well, too, for Southern Methodist. You saw him boat race Stanford last week, and Duke just played an absolutely atrocious brand of football last week against Florida State. It was pitiful the way Duke played last week, and they won. Good for them. Cashed my bet, cashed my Duke and Fresno State parlay, but they couldn't throw the ball. It was the worst I've ever seen Malik Murphy play. And, Star Thomas kind of bailed him at points in that game, but I don't think Duke is able to keep up with SMU. SMU is going to score points no matter what defense they play. The question that you have to ask in this game is, can Duke's defense stop Southern Methodist? The answer, guys, is no. SMU is going to put up points in this team. Duke has to play Miami next week. That's rough for them. But SMU, look at their schedule, guys. They get Pitt next week. It's a huge game because the winner of that game was going to go to the ACC championship game. Give me SMU. Their only loss this year is BYU, which is not a bad loss at all. Give me them to absolutely destroy Duke. Again, they're both 6-1, but there's a difference in these 2 6-1 teams. SMU is much better. Give me the Mustangs to go in there and dominate Duke on the road. SMU wins the game by 3 touchdowns. So we go on to our final game of the week. The Bearcats go to Folsom to take on, Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado to take on the Buffs. It's the nightcap, and we're going with Coach Prime, Shedeur Sanders. I don't know if Travis Hunter's playing. He's questionable, but we're taking Colorado. Okay, guys, we take Colorado every single week. We do. We take Colorado every single week, and Colorado, guys, they're not losing a game the rest of the year. They're not losing a game the rest of the year. They're going to be, 8-1 in the Big 12, and all it takes is Iowa State to lose once. And then Colorado gets in the Big 12 championship game. We'll see what K-State does from here on out, because K-State would have to lose one too. Colorado's not in a bad spot right now. Yeah, they lost to K-State. The Nebraska loss. It's not a Big 12 game, so who cares? Colorado still has a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. It's not a great chance, but there is a chance. They're not losing to Cincinnati. Okay, we'll get to the full Cincinnati breakdown because it's a tough game. I don't think they lose to Texas Tech. I think they'll win that game. I think they beat Utah at home. They'll go to Kansas definitely and win. That's game's at Arrowhead, but they'll win it. And they'll definitely beat Oklahoma State. Their toughest games this week in Cincinnati. Because Cincinnati, we talk about them at length every single week. I always shout out Brendan Sorbsy, who should be in the Heisman conversation as well. He's having a great season for Cincinnati, the former Indiana Hoosier, who they wanted to play Taven Jackson over last season. I mean, what are we doing? But Cincinnati plays tremendous offense. Xavier Henderson's a great receiver for this football team. And Brendan Sorbsy airs it out every single game. And Cincinnati puts up points, man. This is a good team. However, when they've played other really good teams, they have lost. Texas Tech and Pitt, they've lost both those games. Colorado's another good team, though. Right? This is a good football team they're playing on Saturday night. They beat Arizona State, but we say it every week, guys. Arizona State is a much different team on the road than what they are in Tempe. Arizona State Tempe is where ranked football teams go to die and good football teams go to die. But when you get Arizona State on the road, it's just much different. It just is. Cincinnati won the game, good for them, like we thought they were going to. But now you go on the road to Colorado. They're going to score points. This is going to be a shootout. It's going to be a crazy game. Guys, Colorado's going to win this game like 48-40. 48-41, Colorado wins it. That's how high scoring this game is. Colorado will cover the 4.5 points. Shedeur Sanders will find ways to put points on the board. I cannot talk enough about Colorado's impressive game last week in Arizona. I don't know how they were underdogs last week in Tucson, Arizona. It was ridiculous, but they won the game by 27 points. They're going to dominate Cincinnati here on offense. The problem is their defense is going to get scored on, but their defense, though, I will give credit to Colorado's defense. They have progressively played better football on the defensive side of the ball every single week this year. I'm not saying they're going to shut down Brendan Sorbsy in Cincinnati, but they're going to do a lot better than I think people expect them to do. And now I did just say this final score is going to be 48-41, but I'm willing to say Colorado's got a decent chance to completely shut down the Cincinnati offense and just run away with this one here in Boulder. Again, Colorado's going to go on a run now. They're going to finish the year 10-2, and it's just a matter of if they can get lucky to get into the Big 12 championship game and potentially make a run at things. Give me Colorado. They dominate Cincinnati on the offensive side of the ball. It's all up to their defense, but regardless, I like Shedeur and company to go out and score. I think they do it. Give me the Buffs, with or without Travis Hunter, to win at home against Cincinnati. And folks, that will do it for our week number 9 college football predictions here on the channel. Yes, this video went 2.5 hours long, but I appreciate you guys for sitting through my stories and sitting through my predictions and getting to the very end of this video. Folks, thank you all for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back next week for week number 10 NFL picks tomorrow. Of course, go make sure to check out the daily NBA picks, the World Series prediction, and our UFC picks weekly as well. Folks, thank you all for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more. And Mamba, forever.